This week on the Manga podcast, we continue our coverage of Tetsunaki no Kirinji, the prodigy of the Iron Calls. Here we go. Alright, so I had to work every day this week, so this is not at our usual time at all. It's like about to be midnight here, and it's early morning for Rinchan, but we couldn't make you guys miss out on a week. We could not afford to miss a week of this wonderful podcast, so we're doing it at this weird, unusual time, but hopefully it'll still reach some people. Hopefully, we'll still be able to, make an entertaining podcast, even though it's at a weird time. But yeah. So how you doing, Rinchan? How you feeling? I know you're drinking coffee today to wake yourself up.
Hey. Good. First of all, good morning to Middle Earth. Good evening to the West. Good afternoon to the East.
Yes.
If you're listening live, if you're on YouTube, then just whatever time of day it is. Anyway, we decided it's better to have a podcast even at this crazy time than not at all. It's gonna be on YouTube anyway. You can check it out later if you or on Twitch as well if you can't follow us on this crazy time slot. So we have to do it because there's a lot of manga to talk about. We just can't skip a week, otherwise we'll get stuck. And today we're gonna wrap up Tetsunaki no Kirinji, the original. We won't get into the sequel. The sequel is a behemoth. It's so large. But there's enough to talk about the second part of Tetsunaki no Kirinji, and I'm gonna have to retract a little bit from the last podcast. I somehow thought that this part is 2 volumes long, but it's not. It's 1.5, which surprised me because for me it felt also like 2 whole volumes.
Right.
But, yeah,
it's very meaningful, so it's understandable.
Yeah, it's kind of a very like how do you say like a thick manga. Like every single page, every single panel is like something you can talk about. While I have to admit, even the sequel, like there's some padding, there's some stuff you can probably like skip talking about. But here it's like we didn't even expect. We expected to finish Kirinji in one podcast, and we're like after 2 hours and something, and we're like, fuck, we can't do this.
There's just too much to talk about, right? Yeah, so I mean, that said though, there's not much left to cover, right? There's only really one game.
Oh, there is a lot to cover.
There is, yes.
There is. Basically, the last time we stopped at the Three Monkeys game, the end of the Three Monkeys game, right?
Yeah.
So basically, Kiria won, and I didn't point out what was interesting to me. There was a scene where ghost Kome or imaginary Kome or like Kome just appears from time to time, and I remember as I was originally translating it, and as the manga had a lot of like buzz around it, and there was Batoto and the comments, which I missed on Mangadex. I don't know if they're gonna.
That adds so much.
Yeah, and I remember there was like this discussion. People were like, "Oh, Kome is a ghost." Oh, and by the way, that's another topic we're gonna get into. There's this like a little bit of argument if in Tetsunaki no Kirinji, there's actually like this um, mystical, like psychic powers going on, or if it's all.
What? Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, so you missed out on that. Okay.
Uh yeah, I mean I swear, like I just speed read the last arc or so. Um
Don't worry. I remembered well because Kome appears from time to time. For example, even in the Three Monkeys game. Do you remember when like up to that point everybody was sure like it's just Kiria's imagination when like Kome is like behind him, he's like doubting himself during the game,
right.
and Kiria is always like and when he's at his lowest moments, he has no confidence. Like everybody just assumed like it's just his imagination of Kome telling him like, "Come on, Daddy, don't give up. Like, Daddy, you can do it and stuff," and that gives him courage. But what was interesting in the Three Monkeys game is that Tsukiko also had like this. Do you remember that?
Kind of like this aura.
No, like as like imaginary Kome was speaking to Kiria as he was like feeling down. Tsukiko was like she was like, "What is there someone?" And
Yeah, oh,
when
she's kind of sensed a presence.
yeah, and then when Kome like ran away after she noticed that like Kiria is all well again, she turned like around, like was, and she said like, "Was just a little girl here," like you know,
Yeah. That's
and
interesting.
that's how,
Yeah, how would that
yeah,
even
that's
work
how,
though? Like Kome's still
yeah,
alive, so
yeah, and that's what brings, and Tsukiko will also talk about like psychic powers later on, and it's something like personally, I do not believe in psychic powers and
well, yeah.
magic and stuff
Right.
like that in Kirinji, because I'm more like a grounded, realistic guy. But as I translated every single page, I have to admit something is going on.
Something.
And
Okay.
yeah, and I remember it was a big point of discussion back then, as I was originally translating. Like I even had people like schooling me like I was the one translating. They were like explaining to me like, oh, he said that he said this, and I'm like, yeah, I translated that line, and he's like, that means it's psych. I'm like, okay, thank you for explaining the manga
Hmm.
I'm translating to me. but,
Yeah, that's
but
a
over
bit
time
I don't know.
over time I have to admit there is something I uh,
Yeah, it's
I
I don't
just
know, like does he like have a metaphysical connection with his daughter that transcends space and time or something? Like that's all I can think. Um
it's like the author throws in little like nuggets just to confuse you and make you like think like because the manga itself is very grounded in reality. Like you have this,
right.
as we talk, like this unemployed loser divorced guy trying to make money. Every character is pretty realistic, adult people with like responsibilities, looking at life. Like it's a very grounded manga. You could even call it like a real life drama if you
Right.
just take out the mahjong, replace mahjong with something else, and
Basketball or something.
yeah, replace it with something else, and it's still gonna work the same.
Yeah.
But then he just throws like these little like Tsukiko noticing in the Three Monkeys game that there's a presence, and we will get to the final chapters where it's a very ambiguous, and like I can see the author like cackling to himself like, hey, what like what will you believe in now after
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, it's kind of
uh
like almost throwing in like an alternate explanation. I'll come kind of almost like Umineko style of like it is it magic or is it all explainable, in
oh,
real life.
Umineko, are we gonna have a podcast on
On
Umineko?
Umineko. Um, well, I'll tell you, I didn't finish all of Umineko. Um,
Oh, who did you have to spend years of your life?
yeah, it's a lot to get through. Like you basically have to be pretty devoted to it. But I do remember, like I have a lot of quotes that I took from it that I repeat, like when I'm playing Mahjong or something. Uh,
It's like when I was a teenager, it was like it's a decision you have to make in life. Either you're gonna like become a nuclear physicist, or you're gonna understand Umineko. Like you have to.
Yeah, it's one of the two. You have to devote that much time to it to even understand it, which is something that's kind of cool because like on a base surface reading of it, like there's so many questions that are like flooding through your mind. And it's kind of like really intriguing and it keeps you hooked and keeps you like wanting to like hear the author explain it, you know. Which is kind of almost the same appeal that Kirinji's like what would you call it, supernatural elements kind of convey is just like there's something to this, there's something to this that the author knows that he's not telling us, and that hook, that kind of just kind of teasing you almost of letting you know that there's something behind this, there's something more to this, just keeps you
Yeah, and
engaged and
it's
keeps you intrigued in the
yeah,
same
and what I
way.
like, it's not just like the supernatural stuff, because if you finish the original one and get into the sequel, it feels like as he was writing the original, he already had the sequel planned out, because nothing feels like shoehorned in. Everything in the sequel flows naturally, like all the old characters, and they get like more characterization.
Mm.
It just flows nicely, because in most fictional work, when I read it or play it, and I get to like a later part, and I'm like, oh, he's like retconning this kind of
Yeah, it
stuff,
just
or
doesn't
oh,
add up exactly.
yeah. But as I was doing Kirinji, I never had that feeling. It was like, oh, well, like I'm reading a sequel, I'm like deep into the sequel somewhere in the middle, and I'm like, oh, so that's why in the original that and that, you know, and they're like, you get this like, oh, it makes sense.
Yeah, he was
Um,
planting the seeds all the way along, and they're like, you know, sprouting. That's what's beautiful about this kind of like really heartfelt, like soul-driven work like this is that like he knows, he remembers all of the characters and all of what they're driven to do, and like you know the paths that they're all on, and he expands upon those paths as he goes. Like that's how you know that it's a true
Work of passion.
artisan of his craft, is that like he's able to continually build upon and expand upon things that were established in earlier parts of the series.
Yeah, I would call it a work of passion. Like
Right.
you can feel that every single panel he draws,
Yeah.
everything he writes in the story, like he loves the manga, and that comes a little bit of spoilers. That comes from the fact that at the time he was writing Kirinji, he also had like a 5-year-old daughter.
Oh, I
Uh,
didn't know that. Okay, so it comes from experience, and like he knows what it's like to have a daughter and be driven to do that. He was probably writing this manga with the same passion that Kirinji has going out to Kabukicho, right?
yeah, that's why it feels so authentic. And the other point is that he's also into Tenho or online mahjong.
Mm, yeah,
So
cool.
it's not like something he was like, oh, I have to write something to get paid. It's like something I'm gonna like use my emotions from real life to write this story, and it shows.
Yeah, that's
But anyway,
wonderful. That's wonderful that it could
yeah,
do that.
let's get back to the story. Basically, we quit at the end of the Three Monkeys. So another interesting point I forgot to mention, or I didn't have time to mention during the Three Monkeys game, is that at the end, for the first time, you see like Kiria laughing and being like in a environment with friends. Like when Sakio asks him like something like, "Why did you pick that tile?" and he's like explaining it, and everybody's laughing,
Oh yeah.
and imaginary Kome notices it, and like she's like, "Daddy, Daddy," and he's like, just he's not ignoring her, but he's for the first time like having fun, like in an environment like with friends, because in Kabukicho it's all competitive for the money.
Right.
Here it's like a friendly night with cozy, just the four of them in a private room.
Yeah. I mean, all yeah, the high stakes gambling is what you're there for, is what you like are reading for, but you can't have that without a little bit of fun in the middle, a little bit of just hanging out and stuff like that, you
That,
know.
that's what the three others actually do, because there's a photo of them when they were younger. They're actually like friends for a long time, and they meet once a month for this night. Those three without Kiria are basically these long time friends
Yeah.
who know each other for 30 years, who just gather once a month. They don't even care about the money that much. They care more about like spending this night with all of them privately, not in a parlor, but like in a room privately, and
Yeah.
just
Just
long
having
time
the game
friends.
night, the Mahjong night.
Yeah, the Mahjong night, and Kiria kind of like kind of fits in at the end, and they all laugh and have fun.
Yeah, which is really
And
heartwarming to see, I'm sure.
yeah, and it was an important arc because after that, Kiria gets fucking confident. You know,
Mm.
um, we'll get to that part where he's confident. But what happens? He has a dream. Um, he falls asleep. He doesn't even remember he sleeps at their parlor. And he's dreaming about being on Mars
Mm.
in a capsule
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
where he
Yeah.
can play where he can play online mahjong all day, and he just gets like three times seaweed
Yeah,
fed to
through
other.
like a freaking what do you call those dumb waiter like a freaking mechanical dumb waiter that like brings him his food like pops through a tube.
Yeah,
Uh,
and he was like, "This is heaven. This is my
this is
this
my
is the perfect
paradise.
life." Yeah,
Yeah, but at the same time, if you stay encapsulated in your little Mars capsule, then you're not gonna get out there and explore the world, and you're gonna make connections, and you're gonna meet people. So, I mean, it's a good fantasy. It's a like it seems like it would be a good fantasy, but
it's escapism.
it's escapism. Yeah,
But then he remembers like there's a photo of his wife and ex-wife and daughter, and then he's like wait, something is wrong here. Like there's something missing. And
right.
then Tsukiko kicks him in the head and says, "Get the fuck up! It's already noon.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of out of
right.
this."
You've been here all day. It's
Yeah,
time to
like
get out.
don't you have a job? Like don't you have anything in your fucking life? Get out.
Yeah,
Um, but it's interesting because they give him the money, but he's still lacking a little bit, like for the amount that Arino wanted. And Kiria asks like Tsukiko, and Tsukiko at the same time like realizes that he's not just another gambler, and they have this like little moment where they turn to each other, and he asks her for money, and she tells him, she gives him her phone number, and she says, uh, if you're that good, if you keep like on winning and stuff, when you get recognized, like you'll definitely encounter Majin. And
mm,
once you do, call me immediately. And she gives him phone number. Kiria gets like borrows money from her, complete like the 300,000. And he gets out, and we have like the sweet moment where he's just walking the streets, and then he sees like Sakyo is selling like food on a street stand. Like she's not rich at all.
yeah,
Then the not talk guy stops him, and he's
right.
basically just like
He's in a police officer uniform.
yeah, and he realizes, shit, I robbed these people of their money. They're not rich at all, because Kandata said at the beginning, like you can get a lot of money playing with these rich people, but they aren't rich.
Oh, yeah, that's yeah. I mean, they got they're just they basically just have enough expendable income that they're able to do that. I mean, they wouldn't be playing at those kind of stakes if they didn't have money to lose, But at the same time, they're not like uber wealthy or anything. They're just like normal people.
Yeah, and there's this very cute moment to me, like Sakio throws him some fried cutlets, I don't know,
Mm.
and he sits like at this bench waiting for waiting in the subway, just eating the cutlets, and he's like, like he has like these rosy cheeks, and he's like, I decided on it. I'm gonna feed myself with mahjong. Like that's the moment he decides.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have any real career. I'm not gonna work any real job. I'm gonna gamble till the
Yeah.
end.
Which is kind of like, I hope that works out for you. I mean, if it doesn't, you're kind of screwed, but, you know, if it works out
Well, the
for you, that's
experiences
good.
he had yeah, like it's a combination of the experiences he had in Kabuking. He met Kandata, Saruta, and all these characters, and now these older people in the private and like positive feedback, I guess, from these experiences. Like, yeah, this can work. I'm
Yeah,
gonna do it like.
exactly.
And then comes this epic moment where Kiria goes to the hospital, goes to Arino, and throws the money on the floor. Like,
Right. Just, jam.
and to be honest, when I saw it first, I was like, "Fuck yeah! Like, take this, you smug doctor."
Yeah.
But immediately, in 1 second, Arno just
Yeah, he
like
turns it on him.
dismantles, like owns him. Like he's like, "Oh, so you gambled and borrowed money?" And Kiria's like, "What?" And he's like, if you really worked hard for this money, there's no way you would throw it on the ground." And Kiria's like,
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Arino just owns him through and through.
Right. Just verbal ponage of the highest caliber.
Yeah, but then we also get like a little bit of Arino's own philosophy because he says to him like, "Look, I'm not saying that gambling is bad."
Mm,
He said, uh, "Because everything in life is a gamble. Like life
right.
itself is a gamble." Uh, and then he says, "I'm not saying that gambling is bad." He says like, "The only thing I want to know if are you strong enough in your gambles to be able to feed a family."
Right. Yeah, that's I guess realistically speaking, that is like it's like you were saying on the previous episode. It's like what Arino and a lot of people around Kiria say is technically right, as far as the world is speaking. But because that is like the proof of like if you are good enough at something to make money on it, then that is in a certain sense what makes it worthwhile, which is kind of sad. The fact that like, you know, using scanlation as an example, like if we were making enough money to get by, then it would be acceptable societally, to do it. But the fact that we're doing it for free, it almost is like you could take that to somebody and they might say like, what's the point of this if you're not making enough money to get by, But you know, uh, it's the same thing with mahjong. If you're not good at it, good enough at it to make a living off of it, then it's kind of just like a pastime at that point. Uh,
Yeah, but he's also right in a way when he says like everything in life is a gamble because if you really think about it, when even if you're like going, let's say, under quotes, the proper way in life, and you finish high school, and now you have to choose like a college and a like career path.
yeah,
That's also a gamble
yeah,
because you don't know. Yeah, like first of all, you don't know if you're gonna make it like through the college. You don't know if you're gonna like have enough money to even like you don't know what's gonna happen if you're gonna like some tragedy will happen in your life and you just have to quit college, or if once you finish you get your like degree, if the
yeah. If you're ever
job
gonna get
market is
hired,
yeah, if it's oversaturated, like even with a degree, like if you're gonna be able to find a job, like even that's a gamble, like choosing just a career path. uh so he's kind of right in a way, like that everything is a gamble. It's just like that people don't like looking at it that way. People want like stability, and they
yeah,
want to they have to convince themselves that if they do A, B, C, D, E, that they will get that. It's
right.
hard to live a life full of like uh, uncertainty. Like you don't know what's gonna happen in a month, in a year, in 2 years. People don't want to think about that. But if you really break it down, Arino is right. Like everything is a gamble in the end.
Yeah, and if you don't take risks, then you're not going to get the payout that you want, It's kind of like you have to stake a certain amount of money or time or whatever it might be on a certain thing, with the knowledge in mind that there's a chance that it could go wrong in order to achieve something that you really want. Like you can't make yourself in the world unless you are willing to risk something in some sense. So that very much is a gamble. So
Because I remember when I was younger, I like when I was a teenager, I kind of wanted to look at life like an RPG. I
Yeah.
wanted to be like, I wanted it to be like, oh, if I just like
Yeah, just
grind,
level up
I'll like,
your stats.
yeah, just like I'm gonna get experience, I'm gonna level up, I'm gonna collect some gil, and I can make it if I just grind the monsters. But then you like grow up, and it's like, uh, yeah, it's not like that at all.
Yeah. I mean,
You have to take risks. So
yeah, your stats do are important though. And it's not as if like if you just spend your time grinding stats and develop like what grinding stats would be like developing a skill or something like that, you know? Like developing a skill, developing like even like something like social skills or something. Like that's going to pay off in the end if you are able to develop that, uh over time, so it's not a waste of time to, be grinding. It's just that you also have to figure out a way to make use of it at a certain point, and you have to uh and I would say, yeah, it's also like how do you um prepare for the future at the same time that you're grinding your stats, but
yeah, because I was a little bit naive because like my first like it's not a real job like but the first thing I did like to earn any kind of money I was like a waiter at a like coffee shop. And
yeah.
in my mind, I somehow thought like, oh, whatever. I just go there for 8.5 hours. I just grind and I go home and I have money. But then when I started doing it, it's like, oh no. You don't just grind. Like you're getting fucked in the head from all sides. Like
Mm,
from
rude
the customer,
customers, yeah.
from your supervisor, from the boss. Like it's not that easy grind. It's mentally draining you basically, and after you're done, you're like, "Ugh, fuck, I can't eat.
Yeah.
Like you don't have the mental energy anymore to do other stuff. You're like,
Yeah,
so
it kind of
that's
expends your stamina points at the same time that you're leveling up your whatever it is.
yeah. Yeah, so that's what I meant when I said I was naive. That I thought that I can just grind. Like no, no. And if you grind in a coffee shop, you're not gonna get anywhere. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's developing like patience and social skills and other things like that. It's not a waste of time per se, but
Yeah, well, but after a few months or half a year, you really have all the skills you can get out of it, and
yeah,
then it's just a waste of time, to be honest. The pay, but at least here the pay is very pathetic. So,
right. Yeah, you're
but
not
yeah,
gonna save up a big amount
yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
yeah. So back to the manga. So Arino finally reveals himself, and I remember that was like people were kind of like, oh yeah, of course, the doctor is also like a
Yeah,
uh,
it's kind of like,
mahjong
well, of
player.
course he is, and he's a freaking eight dan too. Like, okay, sure, you know,
Yeah, and because he challenges him, like he's like, "Hey, come to this ant colony. It's like a high class private club
yeah,
where me and my pro friends play." And then Kiria is shocked, like because he hears about pros for the first time, which is also, if some listeners don't know, there's a big difference between like gamblers and enthusiasts and pros.
yeah.
Mahjong pro is like a real job,
Right.
and
Yeah, there's a big organization that you have to like
yeah.
pass a test in order to get into.
Yeah, you have to pass a test, you have to study, you have to attend the meetings, you have to go to, you have to show results at tournaments.
Yeah, you
It's
can't
like
be
a real
late.
job.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard stuff about I remember reading Garth Nelson's blog and like he said that he was like 10 minutes late and he got chewed out for like hours. Even though all he was late for was Mahjong. All he was late for was like a Mahjong league game or something, but yeah, they take it
Yeah, and
really seriously.
it's very strict. It's almost like a professional sport because mahjong pros are not allowed to like gamble, disgrace themselves. They have to keep like a image, you know.
Yeah,
Um, it's like a real serious professional sport in a way in Japan, Riichi Mahjong.
very much
And
so. Yeah.
that's gonna be interesting for the last game, and that's also why I love Kirinji so much because the games are never boring. There's always like these Like we had the dotted white in the three monkeys, and now a little bit of spoilers. We didn't get there yet, but you're gonna see in a pro mahjong game there are no red tiles, which is basically the specialty of Kiria. So
Yeah.
because in professional mahjong they're trying to remove luck out of the game as much as possible.
Right. Yeah, they don't
Um,
do Uradora or Ipatsu either, do they?
uh, I think they do Ura.
Really? Okay.
Huh.
I'm just going based
I don't
off
know.
my Mukoguchi memory.
I
Because,
don't
like,
know. You might be right. I only know the rules from the game they played in Kirinji.
yeah. And
They had
also, a lot of
yeah.
Katayama Masayuki's works, the same guy who did Obaka Miko and other stuff. A lot of his works deal with professional mahjong, and yeah, I swear, like there's some professional rule set where there's no red fives, there's no ipatsu, there's no uradora. It's basically just, you know, all you're doing is just trying to maximize your hand's value, and there's no luck involved whatsoever. I mean,
I
not
know,
whatsoever, but
I know
as
about
little
that.
as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. I know about that version of Ricci where they remove all luck. Then it becomes honestly more something like chess or something
Yeah,
in a way. You're like counting tiles. There's a little bit of psychology, I guess, but it becomes a very different game from what I'm used to. At least I guess you too. Like I can't imagine playing the game without these luck vectors because it would be
yeah,
too much mental strain, and there would also be some points in the game where you just give up and you think like. Because what I like about Ricci is that whatever the situation, I can always go like even if I'm last place, I can be like, you know what, I'm gonna ride the flow. I'm gonna go for Ipatsu
yeah.
Ura 3, uh,
Something like that,
and
yeah.
sometimes it happens, and it's like the best feeling ever. Like yeah,
Right. And you can't, yeah, I don't know. I guess there's no Condor either, so you can't, like, just con your way to, like, just open con on a tune and hope that tune is the new Dora or something either. Uh,
yeah.
which is, a desperation technique that you can use. Yeah, that is something that's good about Mahjong is that there's always a way to come back. Like, even if you're forced to chase after a Yakuman, like, there's still a way to come back. It's just that with those kinds of rules, you would have to like focus more on like your hand's shape and like building like hand yaku instead of aiming for like
And
complete bullshit
I'm not
luck.
saying. Yeah, maybe it's even better like that. To be honest, like if we're gonna look at it from a like professional sport kind of way, maybe it's better like that to remove all luck factors. I'm just saying, me as a enthusiast, as somebody who considers Ricci as a hobby, that luck part is something I really enjoy, even though it sounds like I suck that I have to depend on luck sometimes. But it makes the games exciting. You know, because
Yeah,
if there wasn't these luck factors, I would basically be like, if my opponent gets a manga, and I would be like, oh fuck it, everything's over. I would
yeah,
immediately I would immediately get depressed, and I'm like, oh fuck, that's it.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's one of those things that if you get used to it, like it's no different. You just have to play differently and you have to aim for different things instead of the luck factors that you're used to. But in any
Yeah,
case, I think we're digressing too much about this pro
well, because
mahjong.
the next game is I started saying that there's different types of games like in Kabu King, we had this shugi, we had gambling fast mahjong
Yeah,
in Three Monkeys. We had the dotted white and the three older people with specific playing styles, like doesn't call and is blind. And I just wanted to tie it in with the third game, which is kind of professional mahjong, but we'll get to that. Um,
yeah,
so the last thing I mentioned was Kiria threw the money. Arino said, "Let's have a final competition. with these 300,000 yen. Defeat me with my pro bros,
Bro
pro
bros.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will leave Hanako to you. Which is that's like one part of Tetsunaki no Kirinji I didn't. Uh, uh,
What?
like it's a little bit old fashioned that two guys are like competing in a game
Oh, for
for the
real.
right to have a woman, and I'm like,
Uh,
is nobody asking Hanako? Like,
yeah, yeah, what she wants.
yeah, it's like Hanako, listen, we're gonna play a game, and whoever wins gets you. And she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like we'll get her hand in marriage from her father. You know, we'll
Yeah,
ask the
but to be
sultan.
honest, yeah, but to be honest, later on, at least also in the sequel, you see that it's not really like that. Hanako has her own feelings and
Yeah,
desires. It's just that these two idiots look at it like that. Uh, Hanako even calls them idiots at the end
yeah.
for thinking like that. But in their like kind of
It's also a pride thing. They just want to see who's better. In another
yeah,
sense, you know. I don't necessarily even think that it's necessarily like about Hanako altogether. It's probably just more about like them settling their feud, and in some sense, even though they on
no,
the surface it's
I
about
don't, I
Hanako.
don't,
I
I
don't
don't,
know.
I don't agree with that because Kiria is not the guy who is like testosterone ridden and looking for rivals and trying to prove himself by beating someone. He actually just cares about his daughter Kome because Arino said,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna take your daughter away," and
Okay.
that's the thing
Yeah.
which drives Kiria. While Arino is more like I'm in love with this woman, and look at this pathetic fucking loser who she's still thinking about him. I fucking hate him. I want to destroy him. I don't see a real like rivalry between them, honestly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah,
and
you're probably right.
and and in the sequel, their relationship is built more like friendship, working together with a little bit of like not rivalry, but a little bit of like how do you say like teasing each other and like being like fuck you, no fuck you and stuff like that. But they're friends basically.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
And I guess
yeah,
they develop a mutual respect for each other through the course of the game as well.
definitely. I don't know. At least at the very end, finally realizes that Kiria is not like this fucking trash Mahjong addict loser, and he kind of gets why he's the way he is, and at least Arino starts respecting him. Um, but I think Kiria was respecting Arino all along, to be honest.
You do. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
because I mean he's a fucking doctor, and
yeah, I mean, he does have credentials for sure. And uh I don't know, he probably
and
understands his mindset as well.
even the first encounter when Arino stands up, like Kiria's first reaction is like, "Holy shit, he's huge and handsome!" Like he's get like he's like, oh fuck, this guy is, I think he respects him from the beginning. Uh,
Yeah.
but anyway, the next chapter is like a little digression. It's a online mahjong match.
Right. Right. Okay, this is the one that I was reading. Um
Yeah, which is a cool chapter. It's called Second Life. Because Kiria is mostly silent through it, and we get introduced to a new character. Um, the very timid, shy kind of. He's called Hyuga online, I think.
Hyuga.
Yeah. And
Maybe
basically,
this isn't what I was reading. uh
chapter 27, basically. Kiria logs into online mahjong after a while, and at least in the world of online mahjong, people respect him. And there's these like girls like who go like Kirinji Papa, play with us. He's like a celebrity in the online world, I guess.
yeah.
Uh, but before that, before that, he is not sure if he's gonna even play because Arino says, "Let's play tonight." At the same time, Hanako invites him to have a dinner with her and Kome because she has a short hospital leave. And now Kiria has to decide: is he gonna go to the high class parlor and face Arino and his pro bros, or is he just gonna spend a nice evening with his ex-wife and daughter?
Yeah.
And that's the dilemma in this chapter because he's not sure. Like,
Right. It would be the safe thing to do to just like, spend that last night with his wife and daughter, just kind of enjoying the moments and then just being like, well, whatever happens, happens, like maybe I'll get to see him again eventually, and just kind of like timidly accepting his fate. But I feel like it's the more like realistic, but not even realistic, but it's the braver and like I think it has a high chance of working if you take the risk and like decide to go out there and actually like try and improve your situation by force rather than
well,
just accepting the safe outcome and just like accepting that you're probably going to be miserable. It's
yeah,
better to
well,
try and fail than to have never tried at all.
yeah. I forgot to mention there was like a big like new info for Kiria that Arino told him, which makes him doubt this so much because Arino told him like, look, after I marry Hanako and we take Kome, I will allow you to see her from time to time,
That
and
is, yeah, okay, kind of
that's the thing.
compromising.
Yeah, and that's the thing which makes him start doubting everything because before he thought they're just gonna take Kome away, he's never gonna see her again, and that's why he's so
Yeah, it's kind of like a do or
aggressive.
die situation at that point, but
Yeah,
it's no
but now
longer
that
do or die. It's now do or be complacent with a moderately acceptable life.
yeah, it's like you're gonna see your daughter from time to time. She's gonna have a nice life with me, who has money, um, and Kiria starts thinking like maybe that's for the better, you know. He starts like, which is realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
a
this,
it's a decent proposition. It's just that it's not he can't like it's not what he truly desires, and he has to at least try to realize the life that he wants for himself.
yeah, so it's another gamble. Like, is he gonna gamble the 300,000 he like painfully made in the last days, just for a chance just for a chance to have a chance to get back with his ex-wife? Like, it's not
Right.
even guaranteed. Um, or is he gonna take the safe route, keep the money, um, and just let them live their own life and see his daughter from time to time and just continue his online Mahjong career? And this chapter basically, what Kiria does, he's like, I'm gonna play online Mahjong when I'm feeling like shit. That's the thing which always helps me out.
Yeah, that's his comfort zone. That's his safe place.
Yeah, and the game basically with Hyuga or Hira, as we will learn on later. Oh, by the way, also the girls which are, this is a little bit of like foreshadowing. The girls which are crazy about Kirinji Papa, the little one and the model one, are also gonna appear. So it's a little bit of foreshadowing for the final
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, kind of giving a glimpse into what they're like online before we see them in person.
Yeah, and Hyuga or Hira, the pro, assumes that Kiria is playing this way because he's settled for second place and that he's just assisting him to keep his first place. He's complacent with second place. Then gets like shocked at the end that he actually wasn't fine with second place, and that's like his kind of like little small epiphany. Like, no, I can't settle for second place. I can't settle for a second-rate life where I see my daughter from time to time, where I'm
Yeah.
low need. Like, I have to get first place, and then there's this like epic ending
Yeah, that is a
where he,
good kind of uh kind of parallel is like in Mahjong, like do you accept, just not placing last, or do you aim for first, And it's kind of similar to a lot of real life situations where, do you want to take the safe route and, be okay with your life, or do you want to take that risk, push for the win, and if, you fail along the way, then you might end up worse than you were before, but is that risk worth it to you? And I don't know, some people might have that in their life as well. And it's
Yeah,
a
and
it's a decision that you have to make as well at a certain
it's
point.
actually beautifully put through the game of mahjong because Hira dealt into his hand basically,
Mm,
and it was a winning tile, and he could have called the run, and he would have been second, and that's it. But he overlooked his tile and waited for his higher out Sanchoku
yeah, yeah.
to get Sanchoku.
I've been there before. Just like, I could take this and be complacent with this, and most of the time, in mahjong theory, you should, but it's just like, how much do you want that first place? How much are you willing to risk in order to achieve your dream of because this is a very important game to him. It's not just any game, this is the game that he needs to win in order to feel confident about himself going into the game that means everything to him in his life.
Yeah, and I think it's very cool how they put like his basically his life situation right now into a mahjong way. I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's poetic almost is what it is.
yeah, yeah. Sonic, I finished as I told you before. It's early morning here. Sorry, guys. I finished my cup of coffee. So can I? I'm just gonna take 3 4 minutes just to brew another cup. I'll be
Sure.
back in 3 4. In the
Okay.
meantime, you can skim through the pages. We're right now we're at chapter 28.
Okay. I was kind of like looking through it as we were talking.
Okay, I'll just be back in 3 4 minutes. Be right back.
Okay. Risking it all for yeah, life is a gamble. Life is a gamble, isn't it? You can be complacent with your life. You can go somewhere safe and just live a peaceful kind of blasé life, or you can risk it all. You can risk it all on a do or die chance. Try and make something of your life. I'm at a crossroads there in my life too. I didn't really want to. This isn't gonna be in the YouTube video, and I didn't want to say this while Sean was here, but I'm thinking of doing something. I'm thinking of going somewhere. I don't know. I'm just vamping for time, but thinking of making a big move, and we'll see what. And I'm considering like if I want to just be complacent with my everyday life, or if I want to take a big risk, and that I think will work out, but may or may not. It's interesting that we had this discussion today when I was just thinking about it today. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking out loud. Thinking out loud, I should say. But yeah, Rinchan's gonna be back in a minute. It's early morning for him, so he's gotta get some coffee. We're gonna be probably talking about ants and grasshoppers when we get back.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back. You got your coffee?
Yeah, I hope it wasn't too long.
It's like, I don't know, 3 minutes or something.
Sorry, I just need my coffee in the morning. Otherwise, I'll just shut down and
Yeah, no, I
fall asleep.
gotcha. It's
Um,
conductive to brain function anyway. So,
yeah. So we stopped at the Kamikaze Necktie chapter.
oh
Um,
yeah, that necktie means so much to him.
yeah, it was the first epic burn which Kiria delivered basically.
Right.
And we get to meet the main, not the, you can say the main characters of the last game. And this is the longest game. It's gonna last for a whole volume and a few chapters. Um, basically, we start at Kabukicho, and this is a thing in Japan, like these group dates. I don't think they do it in the Western world,
Group
but it's kind of
dates?
common in Japan. Yeah, you don't know about that.
No, I don't actually.
Well, in Japan, there's like this thing where, because they're a little bit more like male, female, like kind of like
Yeah.
separated kind of stuff. So they have like these kind of things which are called like group dates, where like five guys and five girls go all out together on a date. It's not, it's
Mm.
not like one on one or two, like okay, there's double dates in the West, I guess, but here's like
Yeah.
five five. Let's go all, and then they just mingle, I guess, and see who works together. But
Yeah.
they're basically on a group date,
Okay.
and they're missing one guy. They're missing, which I think this is this is the first appearance of Gono.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I
What do you
mean,
think?
what do I think about him? I think he's cool. I mean, anybody who can like get away from their delinquent style past through something like Mahjong has to be pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean his introduction, like he's just like
Oh, hold on.
basically like threatening, threatening like this poor little guy. He's like calling him names, and he's like, "Shut the fuck up! What kind of group date? Fuck off! We're gonna play mahjong."
Yeah. Hold on. Oh yeah. I mean, that is quite the introduction. Get the fuck over here. We're playing Mahjong right now. It's your reg that should be rising, not your dick.
Yeah, he calls him a virgin at gambling. I remember back then when the chapter first came out, it was like a big kind of like they made like a reaction image out of
Oh
that.
yeah, as they do.
But as I don't know if I said it in the podcast or to you personally, but this is the first time we see Kiria fucking confident,
Yeah,
like from first second. Just like look at him in his stance, like he's like,
yeah. He's got his coat over his shoulder.
Yeah.
holding up by
Uh,
one finger, showing off his strength.
and then there's this epic burn. He's like, like, look at that fucking necktie. It doesn't fit at all. Like, what's that pattern? Like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like, you're probably poor and couldn't afford anything better, you fucking loser. And he's like, oh, it's a gift for my daughter. But
yeah,
you wouldn't know what it means because you have no daughter.
yeah. You wouldn't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Be given a special gift. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, that,
priceless treasure, and that's why he's wearing it. It's because it means so much
yeah,
to him.
that was an epic burn. And
Yeah, and a few
Hira,
pages later, I think we see like Kome in like the same outfit, like it with the same pattern on it.
imaginary Kwame, yeah, yeah, she's
Yeah,
gonna, yeah. But the fan favorite character, Hira.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and his surname, no, given name is Hitoshi.
Oh, so I was right.
Yeah, yeah. No, you had yeah, we were talking about like whether his name was Hira or Hitoshi. It's both. His name is Hira
Okay.
Hitoshi.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's why. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not, I didn't lose my mind yet. Okay, good.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
You remembered.
okay. Basically, did you know this is interesting trivia? But do you know that Hira was actually the fan favorite as chapters were coming out back then?
Oh, really? Well, I can see why. He's, just trying his best. He's, around all these like intense gamblers and he's just trying to freaking uh keep up and he does pretty good, you know? He gets to a lot of good tempis.
Yeah, but not from the start. Like at the start, not really. But during the end game, like when it's like this epic showdown, I was reading the comments and people were rooting for Hira, and I'm like, what the fuck? You should be rooting for
Yeah,
Kiryu.
we don't even really know much about this guy, but I guess it's just his demeanor. And
Yeah, well, you'll get like a flashback later on, like about his background, where you can kind of more connect to him later on in the game.
yeah.
But during
But I
the
guess
final, during the
the
final,
more important thing is that they're like, Kiria and Arino have so much at stake, but he doesn't really have anything except the fact that he wants to play well in this situation.
yeah. So the as we said, the last game, there's no Akadora, there's no red tiles, which is a big handicap for Kiria because as far as we know, I mean, until now, that was the only way he was playing,
Well,
even
yeah, he was
online.
focusing a lot on red tiles because of the Shugi. Um, and even online, he probably would typically play with red fives. So I don't know if he's ever because when you go on Tenho, like there is a lobby for no red fives, but I don't know, maybe like 10% of people play in that lobby or something.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely see him when he's playing online that he's playing with Alcadora.
Yeah.
So that's from the beginning, like that's a big handicap from him, that's for him, not from him. And the amount of money as well that they're betting, like if you lose, you lose 150,000 yen, I think, from the fourth place.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. First place gets 200,000. Second place pays nothing. Third place pays 50,000. Last place pays 150,000.
Yeah. So it's
And
basically you have to come in first place if you want to win.
yeah, yeah, and not only that, there's no red. They also want to play like Hanchan, and
Yeah.
both Adino and Gono are they're like both sure like this is gonna fuck him up. Like even if he's the best online player, even if he's a good gambler in Kabukicho, like he's not gonna survive this. And he doesn't protest, which is actually so badass. He just says like, you know what? Let's not do Hanchan. Let's just do like Tompusen, like he's only like
Yeah.
to even make it worse for him, basically.
Right. Yeah. He doubles down.
Yeah,
He's like, I can beat you even with this,
yeah.
which
And
is
then and then
badass. Yeah.
and then our favorite monkey girl just
Monkey girl.
Liz, yeah, Liz just shows up and like, can I? Oh, by the way, which is funny. A funny thing which we forgot is that when Gono tells Hira to gets to the parlor to play Mahjong, the girls just hear Mahjong, and they're like, Mahjong, can we come too? Like, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's unexpected.
Yeah.
Oh
And
no.
so she wants to watch the game, and she enters at the worst moment. Like Gono and Arino are like looking, like gnarling their teeth at Kiria, and like
Right, I
if it
see
was
it. Yeah.
if it wasn't Mahjong, I think they would jump at each other and start like just punching each other at this
Yeah.
point.
Pretty much just leap over the table.
And which is also fun. They both know each other's identity.
Yeah, Kirinji
They did some
Papa.
background. Yeah, he knows that Kiria is Kirinji Papa, and Kiria knows that he's an amateur champion from this Iron Strength competition, so it's not just some doctor.
Yeah.
And Hira, Hira is like, I'm so fucked.
Yeah. It's like, what did I get
Like,
myself into? Oh god, oh man.
yeah, he's like playing against online mahjong celebrity against fucking pro, like the best pro in the organization, and some amateur king, and he's like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, his hair goes all white.
1 minute already old. So
Yeah.
everything's over.
Yeah, I mean that's how you I don't know, they did that in Kaiji too. I think it's a really good trope.
Yeah. So anyway, which is cool about this, like it starts with Kiria kind of owning, even though it's not his like territory, like this kind of, let's say, classical mahjong in a way.
Hmm. Okay. Kind of, yeah, I mean he's used in his iron calls, even though he doesn't call them iron calls yet.
Yeah, but basically, this is the first game because the first 3 4 games we saw him, it's always the same. Like he starts like confused. He starts like insecure. He's like confused by everything. He doesn't know. He always starts like getting owned wherever he goes. And this is interesting because it's different because this is the game where he starts owning.
Yeah. He
And
starts out.
we're actually reading the thoughts of Hira more than like Hira is the usual Kiria here right now.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is like in a Fukumoto series where we don't hear the main character's thoughts. We're hearing everybody around them. It kind of builds up a sense of like, what is he doing? What's his strategy? What's he thinking?
So first match goes to Kiria, which was I didn't expect it when I was doing it the first time.
Yeah, you expect him to like lose and then have to make a comeback or something, but no, he starts out strong, which is great to see, but unexpected.
And I just checked 150,000 yen is $1,300. So wow.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Imagine
That's
playing
an
50.
entire paycheck for me.
Yeah, imagine like playing 15 minutes of mahjong and losing $1,300.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I would be
nuts.
fucking shaking, but Kiria is very confident.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta hand it to him. Like, even though this is like for his daughter, kind of, like he's still very calm. He knows that this is do or die, and his nerves are like ice cold. He has no fear.
I think that's the confidence he got from the Kabuking and the Three Monkeys, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, it's built up over this entire series. This confidence of I know exactly what I'm doing. Like I'm not out of my element at all. I can uh I can beat these guys at their own game, no matter what
Right,
imbalance rules they might want to force on me.
right. And the next, like in the next chapter, in this chapter, there is this trope from the author, which he's gonna do in the sequel as well. It's basically he picks like a children's fairy tale.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and this time
in
it's
this one,
the
Ari Tokirigi's the ant and the grasshopper.
Yeah, which I've
Uh,
heard, which I grew up with.
Me
Uh,
too.
yeah, yeah,
There
I
was
know
even
about
like
this one.
there's even like a Disney cartoon, I think.
Is there? Well,
Not maybe Disney.
oh no, yeah, there was like an animated cartoon of it
Yeah,
for sure, of some kind.
yeah,
Maybe like
yeah,
Hanna-Barbera or something. I don't know. But yeah, no, I definitely remember, hearing this when I was growing up. You know,
yeah,
the
and
the ant is
yeah,
let's see, the ant works all day and like it, stresses him out, stressing himself
prepare.
out, like preparing for the winter, whereas the grasshopper
Yeah,
just lays around playing the violin all day. uh
yeah, and it's. I think it's really cool that he's like putting the manga like it's not exactly like the fairy tale, but it's thematically like there's gonna be a twist on the fairy tale, but it's
yeah,
like thematically very similar. Basically, even
right,
the name
of course.
is the Ari, is the
Yeah,
ant,
the Adi and then the
and
Kiri.
Kiria
Kiri as in
is the
Kiria, yeah.
Kirigiris, yeah.
Kirigiris.
Uh,
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you have to assume like he probably named the characters after, or he named the characters this way in order to use this metaphor.
Probably, or it was the luckiest coincidence ever,
It would
which I
have to be
thought.
pretty lucky.
Oh no, it's not a coincidence at all because the fairy tale, the book, actually appears in the second chapter. Even I think when
Yeah,
he's buying the Kome present for her birthday, and even at the very yeah, you're right. It's already put in from the beginning. He basically looks at the very first chapters of the book and says, "This is something I read a million times when I was a kid," and then he asks the cashier to wrap it up for Kome. Yeah, yeah.
right.
It's his gift, so yeah, it was planned out.
Yeah. That
And
was that's
Coleman,
basically the whole arc of the first series is the ant and the grasshopper.
yeah, and Coleman, even with her like 5-year-old mind, already understands that her father is like this playing around, fooling around guy,
Yeah.
and
Instead of playing the
Hanako now.
violin though, he's playing the tiles.
Yeah, and I think this is also a very cool thing he did because Hanako says like the grasshopper is not a useless piece of shit, like because a violin can be played well. And if you practice for a really hard time, like she says, nice sounds will start coming out, and then Kiria says "sumo," and I was like connected, like nice sound, sumo.
Yes, that is a nice. Yeah, nice sounds will keep coming out of your mouth if you get good at
Yeah,
Mahjong.
sumo ron, sumo ron,
Yep.
ippats,
Boom. Chi.
uradon. Yeah. So he keeps owning. We have some background. We see that Hanako and Kome are sleeping together in the hospital.
Yeah.
Um, and Gono is actually very cool, a very cool character. But what Kiria does, he deals in to finish the match, which is also a badass move in a way.
Right. He knows he has enough points to survive.
Yeah, and then we have Liz. She realizes that Kiria is like a completely changed man. We even have like this page from the first chapter where he's like this mess, like
Yeah.
he's just so out of his like element entering kabuking for the first time, and he's just confident owning. And as you
Yeah.
said, here's the imaginary Koma and the dog paw pattern dress,
Right.
and we see that he's keeping the tooth, which also fuck this manga is really planned out actually.
Yeah.
Like
No.
the
Knew
tooth
exactly what
comes
he was
back,
doing. Yeah.
and the tooth is him basically saying like this gives me confidence, like she's with me. Here's her tooth.
Oh, is that what's under his tie?
Yeah, he taped
Oh,
the
okay. You know, when I looked at this page first, I thought it was like some kind of like drug or something.
drug.
Yeah. Is it like explained what it is?
I mean, it's a silly. Like I agree. The way he drew the tooth is kind of.
Yeah, it looks like freaking I don't even know, like some
First time,
kind of
first
pill
time
you're
I saw that,
popping.
first time I saw that, I thought it was a Tic Tac.
A
Like,
Tic Tac. Yeah.
yeah, Tic Tac. He could have drawn the tooth, but that's not how a tooth really looks. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not an oval.
yeah. But he meant the tooth, basically.
Okay, okay.
It's not a drug. It's not a drug
That
at
was
all.
something I was wondering even before we were going into the podcast. Was like, is that a drug? What is? Okay, whatever.
What
I'll just keep reading.
what did you think? Like Kitty is like popping like some pills. Like
Yeah, no, I thought it was like
give me a,
doing like Dexedrine or something to freaking like make him more alert, keep keep his mind
yeah. That's
up
the big
during the
like
game.
revelation at the end of the manga. Like Kiria won thanks to the drugs.
Yes.
Arino and Gono realized
Yes, now
what
we
they
have to
don't
do drugs to keep up with him. Yeah, then it freaking turns into like this horrible, like awful moral of like, yeah, you have to do drugs to be good at mahjong. No, thank God it's not that.
yeah. And Arino has a problem with his penis apparently, and
Eh?
as
Oh
Gono
yeah, oh yeah. How could I forget? Yeah, of course.
and
Yeah,
as no go no not Arino. Wait.
Gono. Yeah, Gono wants him to check out his phallus
Yes,
in the
yes, because
in
he's
the
a doctor.
bathroom.
Yes, he's a doctor. So, but basically, he admits that he's in love with Hanako. Gono is shocked because Arino never talked about a woman before.
Yeah,
And that's the moment they decide they're not gonna play around anymore. So it's like now it's starting.
yeah. We have to crush this guy before he takes away your girl that was already his.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool. They could have like if this was like a Fukumoto manga. Honestly, I think Arino and Guono would be kind of working together and cheating in a way.
Yeah, yeah, they would be using signals and like passing tiles under the table. But
Yeah, stuff like that. But here they're like honorable and they just play their own game.
yeah,
Uh, and I mean, Gono also doesn't just want to give the victory to Arino. He also wants to win. And I mean, there's a lot of money at stake. Basically, each character has their own big motivation. Uh, Hira's motivation is to survive.
yeah, it's just try and stay afloat with all these like big names at the table.
Gono is just the type of guy who wants to dominate and prove himself. I don't think he would ever agree to be second place for somebody else. I
Right.
just don't. Arino and Kiria, of course, want Hanako, so everybody has their own motivation. And here's the first flashback. That's what I meant about the last game, where every single of the four characters has like their flashbacks and motivation and is fleshed out. So I got to the part where Gono is meeting Majin for the first time.
Yeah.
Basically, they're both part of the organization, and they say these new. And I think that's also kind of true in Japan as well. In these kind of organizations, that you have to like have some mentor because, as we said, it's something like a kendo club, just in mahjong.
Yeah.
It's like a sport in a way if you're playing it professionally. So
Very
they
much
kind of
so.
yeah, so they kind of got like randomly or by fate they got to be like master and apprentice. Basically, everybody Gono is like the kind of arrogant asshole guy.
Yeah,
Doesn't
like
get
be my
along.
master. I need one, so and you're good, so be my master. I demand it. You know.
Yeah, and then Majin is just like Majin, basically. uh,
Yeah. You're like,
we
sure, yeah, I'm drunk enough to think this is a good idea.
Majin just doesn't doesn't give a shit. But here we see him like old.
Right.
Because later on in the flashbacks, he's gonna be like middle-aged. But yeah, that's just something that comes to mind when I remember the last chapters I did.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And I'm looking forward to reading the sequel to figure out like what exactly was going on with Majin and all this. But anyway.
the author keeps the original Majin and the second generation Majin. He uses them very sparingly. Um,
Yeah.
Later on, we learn a lot more about the second Majin, Tsukiko's husband, ex-husband. We learn about him quite a lot, but the original one, this one we see right now, who was teaching Gono, he is used very, very sparingly throughout the manga, even in the sequel.
Yeah.
He stays very mysterious, and I hope at some point, maybe it's actually for the better if he just stays like mysterious. Maybe it's more fun like that.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, I do think that all mysteries should be resolved in manga or in media in general. Like it's just unfulfilling to not have a mystery like that
Hmm.
resolved in some way. Is my opinion. Like if I were to ever write a story, I would like well there I would say like most mysteries should be resolved, but if there's one mystery that like, really you have to think about or not even you have to think about, but it's fun to think about. Like if there's a mystery that is just really fun to think about, then I think it's okay to like, not explain it. Uh and I don't exactly know like which category that would fall into, like whether, the second generation Majin would be a mystery that's like, we're just waiting to find out about it, or if it's something that's like fun to think about what it could be. Because if it's something that's fun to think about, then, it's okay to not explain it because like the fun of that kind of mystery is uh trying to work it out in your own mind rather than having the author explain it to you. So
Okay,
it
why
depends
I
it depends
okay
on which one it is.
okay why I say it is because the second generation Majin was like the coolest character for me for a long while, even like very deeply into the sequel. Exactly because he was mysterious. He just
Hmm.
appeared like in one flashback. We just saw a little bit of Mahjong, and his face was always like kept like under some shadow, like you never could see like his whole face. And that was when I
Hmm.
really thought
Okay.
he was so
Yeah.
fucking cool. And then later on, as we learn more and more about him, and as he shows up more and more, I kind of lost this. I don't
This.
know. He was like humanized in a way because when they were just like talking in hushed tones, like second generation Majin, and like mentioning like and seeing just some glimpses of him, he was like this like monster, like this fucking force that I was like, oh, Majin. And then later on, no spoilers, I'm not gonna spoil too much, but as you learn more and more and he appears more and more, you're just like, oh, okay.
He's just kind of normal.
No,
Okay. Do we
well,
ever see his
he's not.
face though? I mean, if you
He's definitely not normal. He has a special gift which is not supernatural, but helps in mahjong. I'm not gonna spoil it. Anyway, he's not normal in any way, but it's like I lost this kind of I don't know
this kind of
awe.
just yeah, this awe, it's just like
Yeah,
wow,
and that and that's why I would like this original Majin, like the older one, the one who's dead. I wouldn't mind if he just stays like with these, let's say, 10 sentences we have, or maybe 20 sentences,
Okay.
and like,
Gotcha.
let's. I will prefer for him to stay this original Maj, and it's also cool that he's just some old guy, like just some middle-aged, fat, chubby guy, and best ever. That's also fucking cool, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a
because
certain swag to him.
yeah, you kind of because it's you kind of expect like the second generation Majin in the beginning perfectly fit that kind of image. Like he's like mysterious, he's like young, he's like long hair, he's like devilish eyes and stuff like that. Uh, perfectly fits. But no, the original Majin is like, I'm a chubby guy, old guy.
Yeah,
I
a
like to
literal
drink
genie,
beer.
a genie right out of a bottle.
Yeah,
You know.
I like to make jokes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I own you all. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, it would be fun to kind of see him just literally just like for a few panels, just doing something cool and amusing and funny, and then just being like, okay, that's it.
Yeah. By the way, at the end of the chapter, Kiria still wins. I wanted to ask you this. I'm gonna do it on the podcast. This is one translation I'm not really sure I did greatly. I don't know. I want to
Okay,
ask
chapter
in the
31.
original one. Yeah, 31, page 21. Basically, Kiria has like this epic revelation with his reach. He breaks all of their thought processes, and he looks at them and says, uh, the experience he has of playing mahjong online, and he says, uh, "Netto ma baijin"
Mm.
in Japanese.
Netoma
It's
Baijin.
is majin for short, and I
Ah.
translated it like online mahjong cripple. And I'm not sure how it sounds. Like I even put it like as the title of the chapter, and it's
Uh.
something nowadays I'm not really sure about if
I'm
it
not
sounds good.
immediately familiar with the term Baijin, so let me look that up. Uh, Baijin. Bai is in like.
Or you can hygiene also, but here it was hygiene. You can search for hygiene, but because of the way it's one compound, here it's
Oh.
pronounced
Okay.
hygiene.
Well, yeah. It's like he's putting himself down. Uh. Huh. I mean, looking at the definition, it's probably something. It's something that you don't say to other people unless you like are really wanting to like depress them and make them like mad at you or something like that. It's like a really derogatory word. Yeah, I don't know if cripple necessarily gets across that intonation. As far as something that would, I mean, there's words like retard.
Oh,
Uh,
I wouldn't go there. No
yeah,
way.
that's all that comes to mind though. Yeah, I don't think there's. I have no idea how you would.
Why I'm not sure about cripple, because cripple sounds too physical. You know, it's like
Yeah,
uh, that's that's something I dislike about the translation, because he actually meant like more like a mental invalid in a way.
mental
Uh,
invalid. Yeah, I mean, unless you wanted to use that word, uh, I don't think there would be any way to do it better necessarily.
uh, yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I think it's
And
good.
okay, yeah, it works. Uh,
Yeah.
it works. So that's the end of volume 3, and we have just one more volume left.
Yeah, just. But we're probably gonna spend like another 2 hours on it.
It's 10 chapters. It's mostly mahjong until we get to the flashbacks, which are very interesting. But basically, the volume starts with Kiria being like swag.
Yeah.
He's like a real Chad. Like look how much money I have. Like I can't even like hold it in my hands. You losers, which is
Right.
kind of cool to see Kiria in this kind of. You don't see him like that usually. Like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like like
Yeah,
like
it is so cool to see him like actually confident.
yeah, like trash talking his opponents. Like
Yeah.
you're used to Kiria being like this like shy, like kind of socially awkward guy, and he's like look at my
Yeah.
fucking
But he has it all together. Yeah. He's just in that mode right now. He's just so in the zone. He's so, just um, kind of acting out all these manga characters that he's read in the past or something. I don't even know if he reads any
yeah
manga, but uh just he's finally the main character of his own manga, literally, and in his
yeah,
head.
and it's cool, and it's cool right now. Adino realizes that because Adino admits here. His plan was to like shake him up with the new environment, with the new rules, with the pro playing with him. His plan was to like mentally like shake him up But then he realizes it didn't work at all. Instead of him dragging out, that's a line I like from I don't know. It's like instead of him dragging out a need, a nerd into the real world, it's actually them getting like dragged
Yeah,
into
they're
his.
dragging. Yeah, he's dragging them into online mahjong, into his territory. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And and he goes even further. He even provocates them more. He's like, can't you play better Mahjong, you motherfuckers?"
Right.
You yeah, like you bore me. You bore me.
Yeah,
Like
this
look
is
at my
just
money. And
boring. I may as well be at my computer right now.
yeah, and then there's another cool exchange. Adino is like going like, "Oh, you know what? Even if you take all the money from me tonight, it's good for some poor bum like you. It'll protect you." And then Kitty is like, "Fuck you and your money." It's like it can't protect me or my family. It's like it's a cool moment where he says that it's him. It's not the money that can protect his life and his family. It's him.
Yeah,
His personality, his mindset is the thing
it's gonna
which
protect
can
him. Yeah.
protect. Yeah, not the money. And I got to the flashback, and this is also a flashback where I remember when people first read it. It's basically Adino's childhood. Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah, I just got to it too.
People didn't like it too much. Nah, I'm not speaking for everyone. I personally liked it, but I remember there was some like a little bit like people like, oh yeah, I knew it. He had like a fucked up childhood. That's why
Well,
he.
yeah, yeah. You always got to add a little bit of sympathy to the villains or whatever.
So basically, what happened is that his father was the head of a hospital, and he had a child with some girlfriend, I guess.
Yeah,
No, it's
a
actually
mistress or
no,
something.
no, 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 no. Oh, sorry, it's not like he's not like even his biological father. It's more like um, he had a mistress, he had a girlfriend, he had an affair with, and she had a child. She was a single mother,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Okay, and it was kind of
yeah, and she couldn't take care of him anymore. So she convinced him basically to take I don't know because he couldn't
hmm,
have a son, he couldn't have a child.
yeah. I see.
So he kind of adopted Adino, and it was like a traumatic experience for Adino that his mother just he thinks she sold him.
She sold him to him. Yeah.
Yeah, which is actually kind of traumatic if you think about it.
Yeah. It is, but it's not. Doesn't give him any excuse to be a dick. At
Uh,
the same time,
well, he isn't that big of a dick to be honest. He didn't do
I guess not.
anything unfairly, or he's just very
I guess in
kind
some
of
sense you could say it like explains why he values like money so
family.
much, or I would say money because he thinks that his mother sold him, right? So he thinks that he
Oh
in a sense you could almost make the argument that he thinks that human life has monetary value, and
yeah,
that's why like he's able to like he that's why when Kirya like wanted his daughter back, he like forced him to go out and get money in order to purchase his daughter back. It's kind of the same sort of mentality.
mm.
You could see that in like
Yeah.
as
That's
an
true.
explanation for his mindset as a character in that
Yeah, yeah,
flashback.
yeah, and also that his father is so strict and puts so much emphasis on success. He
Yeah,
kind of he kind of just took that from his father, and he has like this. He put so much importance into a career and success, and that's why he looks so much down on Kiria,
yeah,
like somebody who plays online mahjong all day in his room, like a fucking neat,
right.
who lost.
Never making anything of himself in his eyes. You know.
So in that way, I wouldn't like you said that he turned out into a dick, but I think like you can understand the way he's acting
Yeah, no, I
because
mean, honestly, I say he's a dick, but like when I was reading the manga, 2 weeks ago, or even when I was reading the manga the first time, I thought, he was, definitely a villain, but I didn't necessarily think that he was like a bad person or anything. I understood like his mindset. It's just that it's so diametrically opposed to what Kiryu wants that
and
it's
I mean and I
it's
mean
it,
and I
it
mean
makes you hate him, but you can still understand at the same time like where he's coming from.
yeah, and I mean uh, a very cool scene is the one in the bathroom with Gono because you see how he talks and acts with people he respects because he's joking around with Gono and he's laughing with him.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's like this complete asshole who's
Right. Yeah,
always
he's
like,
not a dick to everybody. He's
yeah,
still has a, personality and a sense of respect for other people who he deems worthy of respect.
yeah. And now we see Kiria's provocations finally. Uh, they fire. It's backfiring on him because now Arino is mad and he's starting to use his. By the way, we didn't mention it, but Arino is famous on the online mahjong or tenho. His like playing style is the
Oh, I guess we didn't necessarily touch on that. Yeah, the fact that he uses traps, like he'll discard a two
yeah,
mon from a Yanmen, like he'll have 2/2/3, and he'll discard the 2 second turn to make people think he doesn't have a two, which is something that you can use in real mahjong. But you can also trap people with it if they happen to use that strategy, playstyle, whatever word you want to
yeah.
use.
His style is basically Ricci trap Ricci is basically his style. While
Yeah.
Kiria is of course calling mahjong, his style is, and it's mentioned a few times, and now he's starting to use it as well.
Yeah, you can say
And
that Kirya's style is more spunk. It's more like just trying to, play through passion and trying to win, like find the best path to win possible. Whereas Audino's playstyle is more intellect, like trying to outthink the opponent, trying to like catch them in their weakest moment, that
it
type of
also
thing.
now that we talk about it, it also like ties in with their personalities because
Yeah,
Arino's playing style is more like careful and calculated,
yeah,
which is like his personality as a doctor and following the career and always planning ahead. While Kirias is more like, I know it's gonna sound a little bit bad, but it's not bad at all. He's depending on luck in a way and on fate
in a
during his play.
sense, but he's trying to like navigate his way through fate. He's trying to find the best way to um turn fate to his advantage, I guess I could say.
Yeah, and also kind of confuse his opponents in a way with his
Some
crazy calls.
sometimes, yeah.
Anyway, next chapter, we get some background on this is Gonos chapter, where he he said that he's not the main character. He wants to be the main character so badly.
Yeah.
He's like, why is it all about Arino and Kiria? Oh, I'm the main character. And
Yeah.
then he goes to the group date characters.
Oh yeah.
To
What are they? Just in the next room over or something?
Yeah. In the next room, they're playing
Okay.
like some fun mahjong. Uh, Basically, these two are actually pros. Like the guy with the glasses and the very generic looking guy.
Hmm.
They're also pros. They're just not on the level of because there's like ranks in the organization.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Gono is like top rank pro. These
Yeah.
are
Don't they
like
have
lower.
Dawn in pro organizations too?
Yeah. Dan is what
Yeah.
it's called. I translated it as rank. So um, they're playing with these girls who are basically just playing online mahjong, and Gono is kind of being a dick to his.
Yeah.
He's helping the girls, but that also makes him realize that he shouldn't underestimate people who are good at online mahjong.
Yeah, kind
because
of a lesson that
up
he's
to this point,
learning in between games.
yeah, up to this point, he was looking down on it. He just saw it as some video game for nerds. He didn't even consider it like real mahjong, and now he realizes like, no, they're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think also this page where they all get to the room to spectate the game, and I think this is the moment people started to root for Hira because Kiria has like Liz and Red Cow watching him. Uh, Gono has his like little juniors like in the organization watching him. The small girl and the model are all over Arino because he's good looking and a doctor.
Hmm.
And
Even the guys are blushing. Even the guys are looking at him. Or wait. Oh no,
no, no,
that's a different page. Sorry. Sorry.
yeah, I'm on page 33. No,
Okay.
11. No, chapter 33, page 11. Fuck.
Okay. Oh, you're not even there yet. Okay.
I'm on 11.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so yeah, they're saying he's attractive. Okay.
Yeah,
It's coming up though. Like I'm not crazy. There is a panel where the freaking
look how like this contrast. Like these three all have somebody like watching them, like basically in a way saying that they're rooting for them in a way.
yeah.
If they're like standing there.
Right. Right. And Hira has nobody. He has nobody
Yeah,
but the fishes
yeah.
in the background.
I think that's the moment when a lot of people started rooting for Hira in a way,
Yeah. Which
which
is
is kind of
cool. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure that was intentional to have him be kind of the odd man out that like has nobody supporting him, but he's trying to still do his best anyway.
oh yeah. Now I'm at the page where they're blushing.
Yeah, what is this about? What is this about? Oh, yeah,
Well,
okay, so yeah, he has his guys behind him, and they're all like, oh man, he's so cool.
yeah, because they look up to him. It's not just. I think Gono is more than just his mahjong. I think like his image, like of this badass, is also like
Yeah,
playing into it. Um, yeah, they're definitely looking up to him. It's now that
yeah.
you mention it, it is kind of silly that they're blushing watching.
Yeah, and then he
But
starts blushing
but
as he's playing his tile.
it changes his play. Like he wanted to go a little bit on the safe side, but he's like, "Oh, they're watching me. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be a badass."
right. You got to be.
And now we get a second flashback with Gono, where he wants to quit, and that's what I mentioned that even the pro organizations are kind of corrupt.
Yeah,
I definitely can see this happening. I mean, honestly, Japan is a country like that where, sadly, I don't know in which podcast I was talking about the whole Shogun stuff. I think it was the Squid Game episode.
oh yeah, that was a while. That was months ago.
Yeah, when I was saying that in the Japanese mentality, they were used for many centuries to have like these shadow shoguns and like these guys behind the scenes from the
Right.
shadows, like controlling the country and everything.
Yeah.
And it's still, I think, kind of today in Japan, even in these pro organizations, I can definitely see this where they tell a young pro to just let somebody who should like take, you know.
Yeah, they're your senior. They've been in the game for longer than you. You should just let them win because they
Yeah,
have their reputation to upkeep.
yeah, yeah. And Gono just doesn't want to do it. He's like pissed off. He says he's gonna quit. Original Majin says, "No, you can't quit. You already love the game. That's your passion."
Yeah, yeah, he's already like ill himself.
Yeah, and he's like, "You can't be a gas station attendant. You have to have a future in mahjong," which is kind of very uh, wise. It's wise, like
Yeah,
because Gono has parents. He's an orphan. He needs these kind of words from Majin.
yeah, this is his
Uh,
way forward, and if he gives up now, then there's nothing waiting for him except
Yeah,
Complacent boredom.
I think Majin is kind of like a father figure to him, like because
Yeah. Even though
he
they
never
met
really,
like kind of out of necessity, they kind
yeah,
of develop a very close relationship.
yeah,
It seems like.
and and that's what I meant when I said like the last game, every single one of these four characters, you can root for them. They all have like this kind of cool background. It's not pulled out of the ass. Like this is the moment I really liked. Like I started really liking Gono because
Yeah.
I finally realized he was an orphan. He was a delinquent. The only thing he kind of liked and saw himself was mahjong, and then he met Majin, and he cares about Majin a lot. Like that's like maybe the most important person he ever met. Like to him, like every one of these characters is carrying somebody like in their heart as they're playing,
Yeah.
because because from the beginning I thought Gono is just playing for himself. He's just like so arrogant and so kind of narcissistic that he just wants to win because it's him. But then later on, you realize no, he actually carries like the will and the spirit of
Yeah,
this
he's
old.
got probably I don't want to say a decade, but a long time of just building up this pride of his game, of his play style, and he won't back down for anything. Uh, because he has that like those lessons from the late Majin that he's carrying on his shoulders.
Yeah, I think that was the first person in his life who was actually kind to him, endowed him with some endowed him with some wisdom, and actually like changed his life and for the better. Um,
Yeah.
so even if they didn't spend too much time together, he's like even at this match, he's still having flashbacks and thinking about him. And then we get to this epic Ipat Tsumo, where
Yeah.
people were confused about this page because his juniors say like, "No, you can't do that," and people were asking me like, "What do they mean he can't do that?" Because he slammed the tile on the table, and
Yeah.
uh, as we were talking about pros, they have like this kind of strict. They can't do whatever they want. They
Yeah,
can't gamble.
that'd be like a Kyoda, right? Like a strong or no, the Da would be discard. So what would it be? Kyobiki?
Pros, pros can't be loud at the table. Pros can't be rude at the table. Pros can't slam the tile. They can't like show, even if they win in a very, let's say, unexpected, cool way, and if they're like overflowing with uh, energy and happiness, they're not allowed to like show it
Right.
because it's considered rude.
Yeah.
They have to always to be like stoic and calm, and like
Yeah.
even if it's
Oh,
Yakuman,
Tsumo. Yakuman.
yeah,
Just like that.
and they have to be like silent and calm, be like Sumo, yeah, come on, and then just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
the
it's
life
it's
of
amazing seeing the freaking videos of like pros online who like get a Chiho like a freaking once in a lifetime event and they're just like, "Oh, okay, here it is. Sorry guys." The other people at the table, the most reaction they have is just like maybe a smirk like, "Oh my god," you know. But literally, that's the
yeah.
um
While if I
atmosphere.
get a if I get a Yakuman even in fucking online on some client, I fucking jump and go yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, me
and
too. Like I cannot contain my excitement when something like that happens. Uh,
yeah. So I imagine myself in real life if a Yakuman happened to me, I would just like
yeah,
start
just
jumping and
jump up and freaking throw the tile on the table. Freaking
start throwing the tiles at everybody,
yeah.
and get banned for the rest of my life playing Mahjong.
I don't think it would be quite that bad, but people might give you some dirty looks at the very least. Uh,
Uh,
but I don't know. It's all about like the atmosphere. If everybody else is calm and collected, then if you are too enthusiastic, then it kind of just stands out. And it is kind of sad that pro mahjong has to be that unemotional. But
yeah, and I'm pretty sure in parlors, you can do that stuff. And people also like drink in parlors, and it's more like relaxed and stuff like that. I think in parlors it's completely fine, even for people to be kind of loud. But
I should say that, like, if you, in case anybody listening ever does go to a parlor, you should be on your absolute best behavior, because especially if you are not Japanese, because I have heard of some very rowdy foreigners being kicked out of parlors and creating a bad name for other foreigners. So
hey, if I didn't mean
I
start
know, I
shouting and
know.
stuff.
Yeah, I
I meant
know.
like
I just wanted to add that
people are
disclaimer here.
telling.
But yes, parlors typically are more forgiving of that kind of behavior in general.
I mean, I wasn't in a parlor, so take it with a grain of salt. But I'm pretty sure that you're allowed to like be a little bit forceful with your tongue, say like yeah, like sumo and stuff like that. Like not
Every parlor has their rules, you know. There are some parlors out there where like strong discards and strong sumos are banned and considered bad manners. It all depends on the. It also probably depends on the rate, the stakes of the parlor. So you know,
okay.
it is what
So
it is.
I'm okay. So listen to Sonic. I think he knows better. I was just speculating from the stuff I translated in manga. That's just the vibe I got. Also from other manga when I translated, like just from the dialect
Right.
boxes and stuff.
And
That's
I'm
the
just going
impression I
based off the YouTube videos that I've seen. So, I mean, neither of us have direct experience with this. So,
got. Okay.
you know, it is what it is. But anyway, let's get back to the series.
Yeah, back to the series. Next chapter, it's Hira's chapter.
Yeah.
Basically, he has been losing. I think he was all like for all of the games. I think he was the last place.
Yeah.
So he's out of cash.
Yeah. And the girls in the background are like, let's bet on who of these three is going to win next. Which of
Yeah,
these
was
three
it three?
strong
Oh
men?
god.
Not this
Uh,
loser over here.
oh yeah, and it says minus 700,000 yen. I have to check this. Just 1 second.
Probably like
6,000.
six
$6,000.
thousand
Wow.
dollars in today's money.
Yeah, was probably even more back then.
Yeah.
So in let's say about an hour or two.
Yeah, he loses what? That's how much I make in 5 months, something
Wow,
like that. Yeah,
in a few hours, just gone.
yeah,
And they all feel bad for him and like come on, like let somebody replace you. And he goes like, oh no, I have still money on my bank account. I'm gonna pick it up from the ATM. They're
yeah,
like, wow, like he has even more saved up. Like what the fuck. Um, and this is the part where I wrote this translation note that he starts talking northern dialect
yeah,
because here in up to this part he's trying to fit in into this like Tokyo metropolis kind of uh, society, so he's talking like them, but the fact is he's from a small village in the north, so he starts talking how he really talks, and we get his
yeah.
flashback.
Right. He goes back to his true dialect, which I mean, we were talking before the stream started about like transliterating dialects. Like it can be pretty distracting if you try and do it. So I do like that you just let people know that he was talking in his northern
Yeah.
dialect rather than trying to like give him like a Brooklyn accent or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we get his flashback, and I was kind of surprised because the Hira we saw until now was like this very
oh
um,
yeah, look at him there. He's like a completely different kid.
yeah, he's like a little badass. Like he's like,
Yeah, shaved head. Well, not even shaved, but crew cut.
yeah, and he's like his parents are telling like, what fucking Tokyo, like stay here and work here, help us out, and but back then he was like God. He had like this fucking testosterone. He's like, no, it's my dream. I want to go to Tokyo. Um,
Yeah,
And that actually, this is the moment most people started to connect with Hira, because he tells his parents it's not bad if I stay here and work honestly and find a wife and start a family. But once I get old, I'll always regret that I didn't take the chance and followed my dream to Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah, each of these characters has their own, like, you know how life is a gamble. They are all gambling in their own ways when it comes to, I guess, except Audino. Audino is just kind of like working as a doctor, but the other three, like, they all have their own gambles that they're taking in their life. Or I guess maybe not even go. Whatever. Maybe just these two. I don't know. But whatever. It's a definitely a big theme of like, you know, you can be complacent with your normal everyday life, or you can go out and try and pursue your dreams. And like, which one are you gonna do? Are you gonna just, you know, work an honest life and find a wife and uh, live by yourself,
Well,
or
in a way, Arino also gambled because he gambled on a very on a career and a very serious life.
mm,
So he never had the, Arino is not perfect. He's lacking. He's obviously lacking some social skills and some experience with women. Um,
yeah,
because later on we will learn that Hanako is the first woman he ever liked. I mean, that's also
yeah,
a gamble in a way to as a teenager or as a young person to close yourself off and just focus on a career. Because
yeah,
you're gonna miss out on some crucial skills, which I think shows now with this whole trying to take Hanako story. Uh, because I'm pretty sure there are look even at this, like two girls are behind him and like just like uh, melting like in his hands. Like he could pick any
yeah.
fucking girl.
He doesn't have to have Hanako. He could have his pick of the litter, but nope. He's set. His mind is set, and he's willing to do whatever it takes um to get to Kirya's wife.
And Gono also kind of gambled in a way that he stayed in the organization even though he knew it's kind of corrupt.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Oh yeah, so everyone, yeah, each of them is gambling in their life.
Because he had to make a decision. He was like, I'm either gonna leave this organization because it's fucked up and I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna be a uh, mechanic. I'm gonna repair
Right.
cars.
No.
Uh, or I'm gonna stay here and listen to Majin and fight against the corruption and become the best I can. But yeah, with this flashback, even I connected to Hida. Like you have to like respect this like decision to just take a bag and go
Yeah.
for the big city, leave your family behind just because you love mahjong so much.
Right.
Oppose your parents. It does take balls, but Gono, we forgot to mention that. Told Hira, he asked him like, "What do mahjong players bet?"
Oh yeah.
Um, and Liz said like pride,
Pride or
and
something like that? No.
and Gono was like, "Puh, pride. What a th- such cheap stuff. Like, as we're gonna bet on such cheap stuff, we're betting time." And
Time.
Hira now realizes like, "Yeah, I'm betting time because what the fuck has he accomplished?" And he has been like 4 years in Tokyo right now. He saved up like $7,000-8,000, and he lost it all in 2 hours.
Right. That is profound. Yeah, they're betting time. They're betting
Uh,
years of their life, not just money.
and I also love this ballsy move. He sees that this guy took his seat, and he's like, "Get the fuck out! I'm gonna win some money here."
Yeah. Yeah, that is some him standing up for himself, showing some of the bravery that he had moving to Tokyo.
Yeah, because he finally realized. Like, also, this is a very like. It's also true. Like when people are playing like these kind of very extreme kind of games where they are like, look at how much money they're betting. It's very serious, and it brings out like the deepest kind of thoughts which you kind of forget over time or you suppress. Like it brings out like your deep, like you remember stuff you wouldn't usually remember. Um, and you see it in Hira. Like you, if he didn't play here, he wouldn't have remembered this his background, like with the village and stuff, and he wouldn't have had like this kind of catharsis. Um,
Yeah.
he would have just stayed this D League pro and just getting by, trying to pretend that he's from Tokyo and just being this like uh, mess and hoping to score a girl in a group date, playing online mahjong. But this game like shook him up. It's like a it's like a metaphorical punch in his face to like wake him up. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now he realized, yeah, sorry.
I wasn't actually going to say anything. I don't know. It's like something came to mind, but I was like, nah, that's nothing. So let's just keep going.
Yeah, and even Gon also like remembered his master because he was also kind of playing kind of automatically at the beginning. He wasn't putting any like spirit into it, but he also
Right.
got like a little punched spiritually to remember these kind of things which you forget in the daily life, like. So Hida starts like realizing that he's playing with three great players. He compares them like he compares them like Kiria is fast, so he's the wind.
Yeah.
Gono is aggressive, he's fire.
Then
And
Aruno's ice
no, I don't know, is mountain.
mountain. Oh,
Yeah,
sturdy.
because it's the old Chinese or Japanese maxim. It's like wind, fire, mountain, and air.
Hmm.
No, I forgot, but
Like
basically
the
four
Avatar
elements.
elements.
Yeah, something like that. And I don't know his mountain because he like rarely makes a move, but he's so massive that when he moves, it's like a mountain moving, and it's like turning upside down, heaven and
Yeah.
earth. Like, and then he compares himself to a dead tree in the winter that yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Very.
old.
Yeah. Very meaningful.
And Gona says like, Kira, come on, you can't play against us. We're too good. Kiria said, switch him out, and he's like, what? Kiria too? And Kiria's like, I want him switched out because I'm scared of him because he's playing
Yeah.
like an online player.
Right.
I'm not sure if he was honest here or I will never know this if he wanted him to be switched out because he felt sorry for him or if he's actually like scared of him. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah. So Hira has his first win. It's 1,000 points. It's a Tanya
Yeah.
Onomi.
But at least it's something. He's getting the momentum on his side.
Yeah. And then he tells him he admits that he's from a village with his family and 10 cats, and he wants to buy the cats futons, and
Buy
they
the cat's futons. Yeah, that's a
uh,
big dream. It's just kind
and
of,
they,
it's cute, but it's sad in a way too.
basically he kind of admits to himself that he really can't stand up to them, but he's just glad playing with them, and in a way he doesn't even mind losing all of the money. He's just glad that he's playing with these three in a way.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, from all four of them, he's the only one who doesn't really have any kind of real accomplishment. I mean, okay, you could say the same for Kiria, but I mean, at least he in online mahjong, he's like recognized,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, at the very least.
Yeah, but he's the only one who doesn't have any like anything to brag about or to.
Right. Just his kind of second rate online title.
Yeah.
and I guess his position as a pro, but that's not nearly as much. It's kind of like he's accomplished, but he's not as accomplished. So
Yeah, and then he says like that he wants to play with them as long as he can because uh, the last 4 years, like 4 years, would have been for nothing if he just like gave up on this game. And Kiria is the cringe lord. He says 4 years, huh? I
Kirinji
spent
the
four,
Cringe Lord. How fitting.
the cringe lord. He says 4 years, huh? In 4 years, the only thing I did was playing online mahjong. I didn't work at all
Uh,
my
yeah, it has a humble
entire life.
brag.
And they're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, what do you, that's nothing to brag about. But no, I'm so much of a uh, hikikomori that I have so much more power than you. I don't know.
Yeah. So now it's now basically all four players are into their like beast modes. Like everybody's like has the resolution to play the best they can. Even
Yeah,
our little, even our little Hira. Oh, and this game is actually very interesting. This mahjong
yeah,
game.
I remember this one. I love this one.
Yeah. Basically, very shortly, Hira is in Tenpai for 3-pin with Sanshoku and Dora 3. Um, they're all in Tenpai, basically. And
Yeah,
Arino, and this is like this moment when Arino calls a closed can on the 3-pin. You can just see like Hira, like his ghost leaving, like his
yeah.
spirit
The
leaving.
the blood draining out of his face.
Yeah. And not only that, he gets Dora 4 from that.
Yeah, of course. Typical manga fashion. That's like, well, I don't know. It's cool. It drives the drama, but it's kind of like also like, of course he would get four Dora here. It's like the pinnacle moment of a mahjong manga.
And Hira, like this image, like Hira, like he literally starts crumbling, like my wind disappeared. Because he has no other Yaku, right? He only had
Right.
Sancho.
Yeah, that's all he's got. Now he has to bank on like high Tetsumo or something like that,
Yeah, so
if
let's
anything.
see. Yeah, we have only a few chapters left. So chapter 36. Uh, Hira, of course, thinks it's over. Like, there's like, and the guy behind him is thinking like, oh, this is also I have to address this. People commented about this that somehow in Tetsunaki no Kirinji apparently characters can read other people's minds and like continue conversations with their like answer thoughts of other people with their own within their own mind because what happens here um, the guy behind Hira says like how unlucky you think he would get rewarded for like pulling through and then
Yeah.
I don't know kind of read his mind like somehow knows what he's thinking. He's like getting rewarded for what? And I also
Mm.
noticed um,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
wasn't
think
like that in the original.
it was like that in the original. And I I don't think it's something like the author trying to pull off the supernatural and like that they can read each
I
other's
mean,
mind.
yeah,
I think
in that situation, it could be that he was thinking the same thing before,
yeah,
and
yeah,
like he was
yeah. I
continuing
think
his own conversation in his head.
yeah, exactly. That's what I want to say. Basically, it's just two characters having the same line of thoughts, and then you just jump from one to
Yeah,
the other.
but I mean, it wouldn't be unprecedented in manga to have characters talk to each other telepathically. I mean, that happens in Akagi, that happens in Tetsuya, all that stuff.
Well, maybe they communicate with like facial expressions, which is also kind of maybe they look at someone and his facial expression is telling them like with body language what kind of way he's
Yeah,
thinking. And
something like that.
let's not go to the supernatural, please.
Yeah.
let's stay grounded. But basically, I don't know. It's like, what do you think? Like, you show some like backbone, some emotion in this one game, in this one night, and you think you're suddenly like the main character. You're gonna get rewarded, and like, no, fuck you. You only get rewarded if you live like me and spend your
Yeah.
whole life working hard and studying and walking the path of
Don't look
pain.
back. Keep walking forward.
Exactly. And now we get, I don't know, a little bit more fleshed out. He's at the hospital. Father is visiting him, and he gets a note. He's very cold about it. He tries to throw it away. And Hanako is a little bit here, a little bit like, how do you call someone who is like peeking and like that's not something she should do.
Um, yeah,
Like
kind of eavesdropping, but with her eyes, I guess.
just like Hanako, don't do that. It's not very like nice. It's
Yeah.
private.
Eh.
Yeah, but she obviously cares
She could,
about him.
yeah, she could tell that it was troubling him, so she wanted to know what it was.
Yeah, yeah. So we learned that his mother died and he didn't visit her because he's mad at her that he thinks she abandoned him.
Yeah.
So she carries a grudge against her, obviously. Kiria is folding. Hira draws a 9-man and drops the 1-2.
The 1-2 pin, yeah.
Yeah, he drops that. And Adino realizes that if he's gonna drop 1-2, because it's another tricky. Like, look at this fucking reach.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, with the Kabe of 3-pin, the wall of 3-pin.
And pair weight on a one pin. Like,
Yeah, and
fuck this.
he could have had a 1 and 2 pin weight, but he chose deliberately to con for one thing to guarantee Sananko, uh, and for another thing to trap. Yeah, because he's the trapper. He's the trapper, right? He wants to
Yeah,
make people think that the 1 pin is safe.
yeah. And when I see this reach, honestly, I'm like back then when I was translating it, I didn't think like this. But now that I played a lot of games, I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Fuck you. Yeah, this is just beyond.
Because I
Uh,
would, I would, I would discard the 1 pin here. I can see myself discard. I would be
yes.
like, I'll be like, no way, he's waiting for. Like, this is a relatively
Yeah.
safe.
Why did he con if he had a 1 pin? What
Yeah,
reason would we have to con? That would be a two-sided weight. Why would he con the 3-pin? But that's exactly why he did it.
yeah. Sneaky
Yeah.
bastard. Um, Arino is of course going for Honitsu, but gets scared by Hira's kind of. I don't know what his face is
Yeah,
trying
just
to.
I don't know. Just determined goofy kind of I don't even yeah.
And the next play is kind of epic by Hira. Like look, like honestly, can you say that you wouldn't discard the 1 pin here
In a
for?
heartbeat, dude. In a heartbeat.
Uh,
But his hair goes white again as he realizes that the
he,
Ant
he
King is lying in wait, as he often does,
and
waiting to
I
trap
love
him.
I love this imagery. Like Arino is just calmly looking at the table, but he can feel like this ghost. It almost looks like Arino's stand, like from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like,
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah, just the stand of his online persona behind him.
yeah, and he looks into this eye, and he's like, "No, Arino is sneaky. I'm not. I can't do this." Which is
Yeah,
very, very like I think that's the best play he ever did in this manga. Respect.
Tahira, yeah.
And Kiria gets like the shittiest tenpai ever. What is this even? Tanya Onomi? Yeah.
Sanshoku.
Ah, okay.
Tanyo Sanshoku.
And Gono pushes, And then we have, by the way, this is also on the next page where this is like tan 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 tan. I hate that. Like,
Oh yeah.
how like I would like to put some sound effect, but what do I put for tan? So I just
Wop
put like in the
wop
corner like
wop wop.
wap 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 wap.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I'd do, honestly. I would have that say whap 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 fwap.
okay, okay. I'll think about it. So Hira has his sixth sense of a loser, which
Right.
I wish I had because I'm also a
Yeah.
loser, but I like the sixth sense.
You haven't
Uh,
lost enough yet. You need to lose
okay,
more.
I have to keep
Yeah, just
pushing
keep
and
losing and you'll develop the sixth sense.
all right. And Arino is kind of uh, kind of like realizing that Haite goes to Hira, that he can still have a Yaku, but then Kiria is merciless and just goes like,
Yeah. He even apologizes directly to Hira.
which is cool that he understands like what's going on the table. He realizes also that Hira is lacking a Yaku that he gave up on the Sanshoku, and that Arino is probably waiting, and that Arino is probably afraid of the Haite. So it's cool that Kiria is actually aware because we haven't seen a single um, thought in the last few chapters from him. He was completely silent, but now we realize he's actually very aware of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And he also doesn't give a shit about Hira, so he calls Khan.
Right.
But he
Oh,
also wants
hold
to.
on. What's this no special thanks to White Lion and Next Geo on the credits of 36?
Oh, that was inside joke.
Okay.
Basically, at this part of Scanlation, we were pretty comfy with each other, and in other series, I'm joking all the time. It's basically when they're not available, and
Yeah.
I do a chapter all by myself, and I
Okay.
still want to mention them, of course, but in a joking way.
Right.
Um,
Okay. I figured it was something like that. Yeah.
it's sarcasm. It's nothing. It's nothing
Yeah.
mean. So don't worry.
Nah,
Um,
okay. I mean, I figured that was with your sense of humor. So
yeah, yeah.
no one has dropped out yet, Doctor.
And when I was translating this, I was like, whenever Kiria is calling him Doc or Doctor, I was always thinking about Bugs Bunny for some
Bugs
reason.
Bunny. Nah, yeah, that makes sense. No one's
Um,
dropped out yet, Doc.
um, and basically, he lays it down for Adino right now because he's also aware that Adino has this ant and grasshopper fairy tale kind of thinking, and he just tells it straight to him like, "You think you're the only one like fighting? You're the only one. The ant has to be rewarded instead of the grasshopper." And it's like you're wrong. Like everybody's fighting for their lives,
Yeah.
and it's the difference is if you're skilled or unskilled. I think the Japanese terminology I can't remember right now was a bit different, but that was the only way I could have put it right there. It's not literally skilled or unskilled like in a game or something. It's more like if you can if you can overcome whatever life throws at you, or if you give in and
Hmm.
go path of like the easy path of just survival and if you can overcome challenges in a way, no matter in what
Oh. Okay.
no
That
matter
kind of
no
yeah, that
matter in what
changes it.
position in life you are, if you're like a super rich guy with your own problem or if you're a bum with your own problems, the only difference between people is if you can muster the strength to overcome whatever's in front of you, or if you're gonna go the easy path of less resistance.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that continues on with this theme of no matter what situation you are in life, like if you have the courage to put yourself out there and take that gamble in life
yeah,
and to realize your dreams. That's what it's all about.
yeah, and that's like a spiritual punch for I don't know. He gets mad because he knows that he's right, and like deep down, he knows that Kiria is right. He just doesn't want to admit it. And we get another flashback because then he remembers exactly when he didn't have this because he's wavering, he's sitting, and he's not sure if he's gonna see his dying mother.
Yeah.
Like, look at him. This is, I think, the only time you see his like face very pathetic and sweating. Like he's
Yeah.
completely. And that's what I meant. Like right here, he doesn't have the strength to overcome. Like, dude, like, come on, like it's your mother, like, dude.
Right. Yeah, you should, muster up the strength to
Like,
do that, but
like she's dying. Like,
yeah, but he just doesn't have the courage to face her because he thinks, she sold him.
yeah, and that's why he admits that. Okay, he says unskilled, but as I said, I couldn't translate it better. He actually means like the not no strength to overcome this kind of challenges, and
Hmm.
that's when Hanako appears, and I think that's the moment he starts to get feelings for her. I don't think he was interested in her before this.
Right.
Yeah, he wasn't. This is the event which kind of starts making him emotional and fall in love for the first time. And she's kind of pissed at him that he doesn't want to see his mother off, and then he shouts at her. um,
Yeah.
and she's just such a nice woman that she realizes like because she is a mother as well, so she knows that even if her son hates her for like selling him, quotes unquote, selling him to this rich guy, she will always care about his health and his life. Like,
Yeah.
that's something only a mother understands. Like, I don't know, probably doesn't understand it. So she doesn't even care if he wants to go or not. She just wants to go to this dying woman to let her know that her son is successful and healthy and well off.
Yeah, just
And she's
wants to see him even.
yeah, and I mean she's right. Like just letting her know that on her deathbed will
Would
mean a
go,
lot.
yeah, even if that's all you say. Like
Yeah,
that would mean the world to her. But in some selfish way, he just thinks, I was about to say like she doesn't deserve that or something. I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't go see her. Ugh.
because he, because of the way like he is, like even towards Kiria, like he looks down on Kiria, he looks down on people who aren't successful, and he also like looks down on his mother in a way. Like it is just that type of he his character is just like that because of his upbringing. Like you see him like now he remembers that every day he was studying all day, every day. Um, that's what I meant when I said he didn't really develop any
Yeah, his only priority was his education.
he didn't develop any emotional intelligence like
Right.
people intelligence. Like he's just like a straight line, just like black and white, 0 1, just like you can't see in shades of gray in a way. Yeah, and I don't blame him. That's his life. His father wanted somebody to a successor of the hospital after he dies because he didn't have a son of his own. So in a way,
Yeah.
he didn't really have a lot of choice. He had to study every day
Yeah, and his
all
father
day.
just imbued that sense in him that was the most important thing, and that's kind of what
Yeah,
led to him becoming the way he was.
yeah, and because of that kind of upbringing, we see him blush for the first time, and he admits the thing he always wanted was a family, which is
Yeah,
understandable.
of course. Yeah.
And we have this Gono fuck.
Fuck. That's good. Yeah.
Hira is still, and this is one of the favorite moments also when I remember reading the comments as I was translating it. This moment of Hira like drawing, like it's like my last draw and my last chance. And I don't know, it's like, hey, there's no chance left for you.
Yeah.
Sanshitoku and Haita. Um, and I even threw in these translations of the Yaku, which I later learned on are very like these scooping up the reflected moon from the bottom of the sea is like very freestyle in a way. At the end of the day, it's just 4 kanji, but okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
but I mean that's kind of the implication of the
yeah,
kanji.
yeah. Which sounds kind of poetic and romantic, so I'll go along with it.
Yeah. A chance
And
for
then we,
Rinshan. A chance.
yeah, a chance for Rinchan. And yeah, and it's a chance for Rinchan, and he realizes my Mahjong is patient. It's not cold as the dead trees in the winter. It's patient, which is cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's sad, but it was a cool moment.
Yeah, that he doesn't get it. Yeah. It was a cool moment. You know, he almost had his time in the limelight.
Yeah,
And yeah, in the end, this whole round ends in a draw, right? Or
yeah. I don't know. Says like, of course you're not gonna draw it right now. With like the fairy tale's conclusion will never change. The
yes,
grasshopper kneels in front of the ant, and Kiria has his like, oh, like again, like mind reading, like where's that look from the? Yeah, all these last chapters are so cool, honestly.
yeah. If it's your
and
winning tile, if it's not your winning tile, then hurry up and discard it.
and because oh, I don't know, I forgot about this. He drew another kan here.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's the fourth kan, and here's Rinchan flower blooms on a ridge. That's where it comes from. Lion's Ridge. Um, yeah, and similar to Hira, he also draws the Rinchan Pai, and it's like Hira needed a 1 pin and he got a 9 pin. He also needed a 1 pin and he got a 2 pin. I think
Mm.
it's kind of
They're right next to each other.
yeah. Like 9 is would be like left if you like make it continuous. Like
Yeah.
the 9 would be left of the
And also
one.
that it's just so close in numerical order. Like they almost had it.
Yeah. And it's a 4 kan draw. And this is what I meant, Bugs Bunny. Like, sorry, Doc.
Yeah.
Read the rest for me.
Sorry, Doc.
Um,
Yeah. It is a little cheeky. I mean, he is being cheeky here, so it fits.
yeah. But we finally get to the final game. This is the final game right now.
Final hand of the final game.
Yeah. And Kiria.
Plops down money on the table.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this
Which
will next one will be the last one for me. The final
which
game.
is kind which is kind of insane. And I like these two looks from Hira and I don't know, like just like what, like what.
Yeah, what are you doing?
He has 600,000 yen right now, which is let's say 5,500 bucks. Let's say something like that. And he's betting all of it on one game. It's not even like a Tompu Sen or a Hanshan. It's just one round.
One round, yeah. And it's like
Five
a
thousand bucks.
double up type of thing.
Yeah, and with the restriction that he has to win. Second doesn't matter, third doesn't matter. No, he has to win. It's
Yeah, not even win
honestly,
the hanchan, win the hand.
honestly, this is like now after all this time, I realize just how insane it is. Like the first time I
Yeah,
translated, it was like I was like, okay, well, yeah, sure, if he gives it his all, like he can win. But then, like after all this time, I realized like, what if his opponent draws a double Ricci with like a two-sided weight?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. What's it
like
gonna
what?
do? Yeah, and you only have like a 1 in 4 chance of winning any hand anyway.
Yeah,
Not even counting
I'm
like draws and stuff. So yeah, it is insane, but he has that much faith in himself. He has that much faith that he's going to uh, pull out the necessary strings to win this game because it means so much to him, right? Because this
yeah.
hand is what it comes down to, and he has faith that he's going to win the game, or rather, win the match, and so he's willing to put all this money on this one game.
Because he says he doesn't care about the money. He just wants to test himself for the final time. Like he realizes that all of these three characters, maybe he looked into their like flashbacks, into their background. He realizes that all of them are playing with some kind of motivation and passion, and then he says like he's the only one who doesn't have anything. Like he had no flashbacks yet.
Yeah,
Um, and he has this badass look, which reminds Gono of Majin. He also had this badass look, and they both said like, take a good look at it.
yeah.
And
Yo,
they,
Kamiro, or something.
yep, uh, uh, and they accept the girls go crazy. They also start side betting.
Yeah,
great, great women, great girls.
right.
Um, and Hira has his own fan, and
Well,
this will
yeah, that's sweet.
that's cute, and it'll get expanded upon in the sequel.
He's so full. He's so pumped up because of that. It's like, all right,
Yosha!
let's do
Uh,
this.
and Liz is apparently starting to fall in love with Kiria, so
Hmm.
great. Like, you just have to have some balls, and all of a sudden you get all the girls.
Yeah,
Great.
that's what it's about.
And Kiria doesn't even care, he just cares about Kome and wants to. Like, I think he's just testing himself, honestly. He just wants to see at this moment when it's so important, my whole life is depending on this one moment. I want to test myself. I don't give a shit about the money. I think
Yeah,
that's what it's all about at the end.
it's
Um,
yeah, it's brave but also reckless. But
yeah. And then we have the flashback, which actually kind of that's the one which makes Arino understand Kiria, and which also explains a lot about Kiria without him even being like just Hanako explains it. So basically, what happened with Kiria? Exposition, spoilers alert,
mhm.
which are kind of unnecessary at this moment. But basically, um, Kiria was working hard
Just like
just
an
as an
ant. Yeah,
yeah, with his dead end job. So it's not like he's just some lazy bum neat from the beginning.
yeah,
Um, it's just that she says she's confused because she's a woman. She doesn't understand. Like at least back then she could understand it. Um, that one day he just like didn't move from his PC, from his computer, and the only thing he said to Hanako was with his excited face. With his excited face was that he said, "Maybe I have a talent for mahjong. Maybe I finally found it." And this speaks volumes because basically Kiria never had any talent for anything up to that point, right?
right.
And
But he
he
finally
noticed,
found something to like feel proud about.
yeah, he finally found something where he thinks he has talent and can succeed,
Yeah,
basically. And Hanako doesn't understand why it's mahjong, but she doesn't understand that he probably tried a lot of stuff in his life and that he probably always failed at sports, at school, at different kind of jobs. He was basically probably always failing,
Right.
and she finally realizes that it's not mahjong itself, it's not the game itself, it's his manly spirit or his desire to be successful in something. And then comes this line which confused some people on the next page, where she says, for the sake of her child, a mother can do anything, no matter how unsightly it is. However, for the sake of his child, a father wants to live an admirable life. Basically, she's saying a mother doesn't really care how society looks at her. She only cares about her child. Her
Right.
child is her life, and she's ready to do anything just for her child. Like, she doesn't care about her reputation or how she's looked on by
Yeah.
society. Way. While Kiria, as soon as he had a child, he wanted his child to look up to him,
Right. To be
to,
proud of him for something.
to be proud of him, and to be a good example. You know,
Yeah.
like he couldn't see himself cleaning
Yeah, cleaning
some,
bathrooms and floors and stuff, and have that be like, oh
yeah,
yeah, your
like
daddy's like
daddy
he's
going
got
to,
his life all together. He's cleaning bathrooms, you know.
like that, like don't worry, Coleman, daddy's just gonna clean toilets for 8 hours. And then when she goes to school, like, what does your daddy do? Oh, he's cleaning toilets. And that's the difference. He basically wanted to be successful because he became a father. Before Kome, he didn't really give a shit, you know.
Yeah.
But as soon as he had a daughter, as soon as he had a child, like, everything changed in his head. Like, he wasn't just living for himself anymore. Now he was living for somebody else. And
Yeah, and I guess that happens, right? Yeah, and you mentioned that the author has a child of his own about the same age, so he probably had the same exact feeling when he wanted to live an admirable life, and so he chose to do something that he felt he had a knack for, a passion for, a talent for, which was writing these manga.
yeah, spoilers, small spoilers. In Kirinji Gate, the latest, which I'm translating right now, there's omake manga, where the author is drawing himself, basically. And there is something, what you said right now, similar. He shows a little bit of the history. Um, so yeah, it's very similar to Tetsunaki no Kirinji in a way. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're right about.
And it's
And
apparent. It's apparent. It comes across even just through these.
yeah, he beautifully delivers. Like, that's why so many people feel like connected to the manga, because it's real, it's human, it's understandable. Like, um, before I did Tetsunaki no Kirinji, maybe I would have looked at Kiria just like Arino, you know.
Mm,
Um, but
what
reading
do you mean?
this, and even, well, I would have looked at Kiria and be like, fucking video game addict lost his wife and
Oh,
child.
you would have looked at him as Audino looks at him. I see.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
before I read it, but
Yeah.
after I read it, and this, especially these last chapters, and as Hanako is explaining it to Arino, he finally admits it. He understands. He says, "I understand how you feel, and I approve both your mahjong and real strength. Strength." He understands. That's the moment he finally starts respecting him,
Right. Yeah, he
because
gets
he finally
why
understands.
he is the way he is.
Yeah, it's not because he's inherently a piece of shit. It's not because he's inherently lazy. It's just because he doesn't know anything else, where he doesn't see anything else where he can be this kind of person he wants to be for his child.
Right. To be admirable, to be
Yeah.
someone that can be looked up to. Yeah.
And I don't know, admits it finally, but says that his biggest mistake was letting Hanako and Kome out of his hand. And as some people noticed, this is foreshadowing. He says he's in the worst Furiten.
Right.
They won't come back a second time to his hand. Gono takes the initiative and calls Ricci in this all-deciding match. Kiria has a shitty hand. What does he have? He has what would I go with this hand? Wait, are you on page 21?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, Ricci only.
Ricci-nami, huh?
Yeah.
Well, if the only condition is to win, I would go for Tanya, or I would get rid of the.
Oh, you
I
would.
would get criminals, yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, you've got that 7-8 pin and that 2-3 mon. So you're like, if you draw the 9 pin or the 1 mon, then you're kind of
Put it 10.
screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would still maybe. I don't know. I would hope. Who is his Kamicha? It's Hira, right? Yeah. I would pray for Hira to at least drop a 6 pin or a 3 so.
A 3 so.
No, I mean, no, or a 4 man, 4 man
Four-mon.
or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and as
that's the
soon as
only way you can call is if you take care of one of those shapes first.
yeah, I would go for Tanya probably. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what he does.
Yeah. Oh, I swear to God, I didn't.
Oh, he does exactly that. Yeah, okay.
Oh, but wait, Arino is his Amicha,
Okay.
huh? Am I going crazy? Let me just find a page with all 4 of them on the table. Am I going crazy? Oh no, Arino is his Kamicha, huh?
Okay.
Which is kind of strange if it's like a one-on-one between them. You would expect them to be well, okay.
They probably randomize the seats or something.
Oh yeah, they're changing seats between every game. Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I forgot that. Yep. Yeah, but he does exactly what I swear I didn't remember this. I was just like that's what I would do, and it kind of happens. It's an iron call.
Yes.
It's a Tetsunaki. Okay.
Tetsunaki. Okay, what's it gonna do from here? I don't remember. I'll find out with you.
Yeah, but this is like the cutest imagery. Like imaginary Kome is riding his back, and he's like go. Yeah, that's cause
You
super like
useless,
this.
useless daddy. Do
Yeah,
the one thing you're good
dame
at.
dame otochan. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's this has so much energy with the imaginary Kome right here. Like I love these last chapters so much. But I would be fucking afraid of Gono, like that Ricci.
Yeah.
It's even like two-sided. Phew. Huh. Okay. Uh, but Dorapon.
Oh, the Chiso is the Dora?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dorapon, is it awesome? Not quite awesome yet. Still the energy. And Hira, blooming Ricci, like a high
Blue.
school high school student blooming.
Yep, exactly. He's coming into his element. If nothing
Yeah.
else, this game has given him a lot more faith in himself that he is able to stand up to these beasts.
Yeah, and you will see in the sequel he is a lot more uh, how do you say, like a lot more grounded based and like wholesome as a character in the sequel because of
Nice.
this game. And then more cute imagery. I love this imagery with imaginary Kome in his hand, looking at the tiles together. It's so fucking cute.
Yeah.
And then she remembers that it's Upin because in the fourth chapter, he made her Upin bento
Yeah.
with the 5 pin Upin. Um, it's
Yeah.
so fucking. And then we have Liz here with a fucking epic expression. You will lose, crying.
Oh, that one. Okay, got it. Yeah.
It's funny, I think.
Yeah. Very
Then we have some
dramatic.
Yeah, then we have some more Mahjong, and we have the final flashback of Gono, and we also see Tsukiko here.
Yeah, he drops a pair of two, so, huh?
Oh, you're there, okay. Yeah, I'm a little bit forward because I'm skipping
Yeah,
the
no. Keep going. Keep blazing through, and I'll catch up.
Oh yeah, I'm at Tsukiko and Gono know each other, which is another part of Kirinji I mentioned before that all the characters are kind of connected. So here we see in the flashback young Gono and young Tsukiko. She's working at the parlor and they're like talking, and Tsukiko is sassy as ever, even in the flashback. Like, what are you doing here? You should be playing at the competition. And he said like, no, Master said he's gonna take the fixed game on me. And Tsukiko is like, what? They can't win against Papa, like even with the fixed game. Like what do they think? And then she says that he's a genius of play, that he's the Majin, um, and that shocks Gono because he never saw Majin actually play. This is the first time he sees him play.
Yeah.
And Tsukiko basically tells him like, "Haha, you're so silly, stupid. You have no idea.
He didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, you don't have no idea who Majin is like, and you see that. I
You
think
don't
he's
know
a
how
little bit.
lucky you are to have him as a mentor. Does that look like the face of someone weak? And there he is, like, all drunk.
I think he's a little bit drunk here, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, he has beer in his hand, so like,
I don't know.
what is that? Wait, is that actually beer? Did he bring beer to a freaking
No,
professional match?
I think it's tea spiked with some sake.
Okay, he
Sake.
like discreetly snuck some alcohol in or
Yeah,
something.
because he's bored of them. Like, you don't stand a chance against
Yeah,
me.
he's
Fuck
like, I
you.
don't need to be sober to beat you guys. Screw
Yeah.
you.
And Gono is like reminiscing, and Kiria breaks it. He cuts and like what? And then we
And
have all
here's the
these like,
famous page.
yeah, the famous page.
This was on Osamuko for a long time. How naive of you to let that one go.
Yeah, I took his translation because it was just so iconic. I just
Yeah, I can
copied.
tell you, you bolded some text because you knew this was a important page.
Yeah, I bolded these like words which have like an accent on them in a way, like how naive of you to let that one go. I'm sorry, but that's a certain iron call.
Right.
Yeah, and I especially like the final panel where she says, "Is Daddy being stupid?" And then he says like something which is actually profound, like he's just starting being stupid, because if he's not, basically he says if he's not trying something crazy or stupid, then he'll have no tomorrow.
Yeah, and look at this hand that he has. This is the pinnacle of stupid. But
It is. It really is.
fucking three calls and all he has is Yishanten. And it's like,
Yeah.
and the three of his four tiles are like overlapping in usefulness.
This looks a lot like my hands when I was playing like 5, 6 years ago.
Right? Just kind of like you. Oh, Tanya was a thing. Let me go for that or something. But he has a like reason behind it. He has a method to his madness.
Yeah, definitely. And the next chapter is the one which is not controversial, but the one which basically made people go into the whole uh, psychic, supernatural kind of stuff thing,
Yeah.
which I disagree, but I can see why somebody would think it. Basically, you see Koma sleep talking, like, Daddy, is the goal to make a pattern out of those four, and it's basically like, how the fuck can she know that, you know?
Well, doesn't she know that he's playing Mahjong?
She knows, but how does she know that he has four tiles left?
Oh, okay. So she's like in her sleep, like
She's sleep talking.
telepathically, over his shoulder. Like, okay, so she's like, okay, so she's not conscious, and her soul has traveled to the mahjong parlor, and now
No,
her
no,
soul is
no,
behind. No,
no,
her soul is behind him, watching his game.
no,
No, that's the
no,
direct implication. No, that's my head canon. That's what's happening here.
no,
Yeah, her soul
no,
left her body, she's still talking, but in her sleep. But her soul has left her body, and now she is in the
No,
mahjong parlor over
don't
Kirya's
do this to
shoulder.
me. No, no, it's a coincidence.
did I? Did I like?
No, it's a complete coincidence. She
Okay.
just has a secret dream. It's a complete coincidence, and it's also a coincidence that Kiria kind of hears goal and is talking to himself, explaining it. This is just all very coincidental.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when that happens, when he knocks down the four which are left, he wins. And then Kome, watch me to the very end in your coincidental dream, is what he's saying.
Sure.
Yes.
That's
So
the no. That's the naive uh interpretation. The true interpretation is that Kome has left her body. She is now a ethereal being flying through
Sonic,
the air.
no,
What?
no,
Come on,
no,
man. No, that's clearly
no.
what's being implied here.
I can
Or else,
only
why would
admit
she be
one.
asleep?
Okay, I can only admit one interpretation, which is because it's a fictional story. It's kind of like in a poetic way, trying to say that the power of love transcends
Okay,
time.
sure, yeah, yeah. They have a special connection, so even if they're not together, they still are on the same wavelength.
Their hearts beat similarly. Their brains are on a similar wavelength. Their father and daughter, and the power of their love connects them. But I spoke with the author and I asked him about this, and this is definitely 100% true. Author told me it's all coincidence. There's no supernatural psychic things in Tetsunaki no Kirinji. Thank you. Let's move
Okay,
on.
well that shuts me down. That makes me feel like I was doing a lot of mental guesswork for nothing.
He wrote me a written confirmation per post. I have it in my room,
Yeah, that's
framed
so
on the
cool.
wall.
That's so
Well, yeah,
cool.
with his signature, and he even like wrote my like Rinshan. I hereby confirm that there's nothing supernatural going on in Tetsunaki no Kirinji.
Okay,
Okay, so
that's so
but I
cool
mean, come
though.
on. I mean, it's cool. It's poetic. I think the point is don't think too much into it.
All right.
Um, and we have the final flashback with Majin. This is the only time, not the only. Okay, in the sequel you will see Majin play one more time in a flashback, but this is the only hand you actually see from him.
And of course,
Uh,
it's a show sushi.
yeah, and but it's cool how he says like, "Don't piss your pants." It's the smaller one. Like
Yeah,
there's different points.
yeah, yeah. The other one would be double Yakuman, or wait, I guess because it's pro
Yeah, no,
mahjong, it's
yeah, in
single
Pro
Yakuman
Majin
either
there's no
way.
double.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of funny that he says like it's the small
yeah.
one, even though
Maybe he's so
yeah,
drunk that he doesn't even realize that it's not a double Yakuman the other way.
no, he does because he says 48,000 like dealer Yakuman, so he's aware. I
Well, no,
think it's
I'm
just like
saying like maybe like he thought that like the other one would be 96,000.
I think he's basically just like being because through the whole series he's like this joking, funny guy. I think it's just like him being a little bit like cheeky, like
Okay,
like
it's not important.
yeah. It's not that important. What's important is that Gono is fucking shocked. He can't believe that. He can't believe what he's seeing because he thought he's just some drunk old guy, you know.
Yeah,
And he takes on these corrupt these snakes all by himself while drinking secretly and just owning them. And this is another like everything I said about people talking about this psychic stuff and this discussion which was going on back then is also because of this thing that Tsukiko says. Um, she literally says that her papa is psychic, and
yeah.
and Gono is like, "You're joking," and she's like, "No, they exist." Like, but I maybe I'm biased, but at the end of the day, my interpretation is that they're just like people who have very good intuition, but not necessarily like supernatural. You know what I mean?
Right. People who just know enough that they can intuit things that other people don't.
Yeah. And she even says on the next page, even Majin would call it reading the flow, which is basically like saying like they have a very good awareness and intuition about stuff which is going on around
Yeah.
them. Um, but I mean, psychic would actually like literally mean that he's reading the mind, which we never see anything similar in Tetsunaki no Kirinji. Like all games are fair. Um,
Right.
and then Majin defends Gono like that he's like an orphan who ran away, and he's even crying and bleeding, and he's dying. And this was very emotional for me as I was translating. I really felt for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he says the reason he didn't want to play against Gono is because he didn't want to play with his kind of mahjong against Gono, who he considers somebody like normal in a way.
Yeah. And it is really this is the same like match that was supposed to be fixed, right?
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is fixed,
Yeah,
but
it's kind
he's
of like
still.
he's like using his last moments to fulfill like the or to counteract like something that his pupil didn't want to do, right? Like he's winning despite the fact that he was supposed to lose in an act of defiance. And that's
At
like
the
a
same
really
time,
fitting final moment for his character.
yeah, and at the same time, as he said, he had the opportunity to show him his mahjong, just to show him that he's not just some old drunk talking random shit.
Right.
That's the moment Gono realizes that this is actually a real badass Majin
Right.
master. And then there's this image of him of his back, and he's carrying his master within his heart, like because he's the one who inspired him. He's the one who kind of led him on the right way, so that he became this top pro which he is today. And he's still grateful for it, and he's still thinking about him, and still like caring about him, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then he asks like, "Yo, Kiria, what's supporting you? Like, what's moving you forward?"
What
You
kind of
know?
flowers support you?
Yeah, yeah. There's a big team of flowers in the last chapters.
Even the 5-pin looks like a flower.
Yeah, yeah. And Hira is also he's waiting on the U pin. And he doesn't have another big flashback. He just senses something from Arino. And we have another heart wrenching scene with Arino and his mother. He says he doesn't want to see her. He's gonna be outside. And then I hate this kind of, not hate, but I can't take this kind of imagery honestly. With his mother
Oh
on.
yes. Yeah. I mean
I,
that brings back memories for
I
me.
I even cried a little when I was reading it. Um, and in her last moments, the only thing Shion is his first name. He's Shion Arino. She only thinks about her son, which she. But I mean, at the end of the day, she didn't give him or sell him to this successful owner of a hospital because she didn't like him or hated him. She just knew that that was a better future for him. Like she couldn't. She was in poverty. Like she herself couldn't like give him any chances in life. So she did it at the end of the day for his sake, even though he didn't understand it.
Yeah. It wasn't some it was motivated out of love even though I guess
Yeah,
the biggest problem was the lack of communication. You know, the fact that she was never able to convey like her true intentions to her son. And it just came through word of mouth through his stepfather.
yeah.
If he'd really known, then this pain could have been
I
avoided.
well, the thing is, his stepfather was definitely still communicating with her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the note
Well, sure.
for
Okay.
Arino. I think the problem is that Arino himself never wanted to talk to her. Like he hated her. I think that was the problem in the communication. He's the one who didn't want to talk to
Yeah.
her. Even now, he doesn't want to see her when she's dying. So I think the problem was in him, not you know.
Yeah, it was in his interpretation, kind of like a similar thing that happened with Kazuya from Kaiji, where he had this misinterpretation of like what his mother thought of him, even though she never said anything to him. Like he just thought like, oh, she never saved me, and that means that she didn't like me. Whereas like Arino, he just got this message from his father, and he took that to mean that his mother like hated him and wanted him to uh, not be around. Uh,
Yeah, but there's even a great line from his stepfather when he gives him the note. He says like, "I don't know, you're an adult. I'll let you decide, but try to throw away your childish emotions." So even his stepfather understands that he's being childish by not
right,
wanting to talk to her, or like he kind of says like he implicates in a way. He's not saying directly like explicitly to him like go see her, don't be a fucking little brat. He just says like, come on, you're an adult now,
right.
think about it.
You got to let go of that.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Hanako, he wouldn't have even this moment where he's just listening in when Hanako is basically lying that she's his wife and that Kome is their daughter. um, I'm pretty sure she knows that she's lying,
Right.
but I think she's just happy that somebody cares about him enough to, to try to,
To cover for him.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
It's a very somber moment, and then they're at the beach, and he says the beach where he was abandoned. He sees Hanako and Kome, and yeah, which
yeah.
kind of explains why he's so madly in love with Hanako. She
Right.
kind of brought a bit of light and into his life, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, like if I was Hanako, I wouldn't like him because he just stood outside, um, and didn't even go see his mom.
I guess, but she's a woman. I think she understands his childish way of no, I'm not. I hate my mother because she abandoned me. I think she has like these like empathy as a woman, where she's just like he's broken from his childhood. Like that's just how he is. I can't help it.
I guess something like that.
And
Yeah.
that's the iconic moment where they're playing in the ocean and he's crying, and that's when he fell in love. And I love this image when he calls Ricci and his mask breaks. That's page 20.
Yeah. Veins popping out of his cheek.
Yeah, it shows a lot of determination. These last chapters are so good, man.
Yeah. But
And it's
yeah,
the
just so jam packed full of everything. Characterization, good mahjong.
yeah, and look at this like Gono, Hira, and Kiria looking at one Ricci stick in the middle, like the third reach of the
Yeah.
final game, the final hand.
Yeah. Very good page layout.
Yeah, and then we have three 6-man weight, Upin weight, and 2-man weight. So
Yeah.
basically, almost all of Kiria's tiles are
Yeah.
he's fucked.
All but
Basically,
one.
yeah, Kiria is so fucked.
Yes. There's nothing he can do. He's backed into a corner. What's he gonna do?
Yeah, and I regret on the credits page I drew a flower,
Oh, I see it.
but
Yeah. You drew
but I
that.
but
Okay,
I
that's pretty good.
yeah, I drew it, but I made a mistake. I drew 4 petals. It should have been 5 petals.
Oh. It's okay. It's okay. I mean,
Okay.
at least
Because
it's a flower, right? It's thematic.
yeah, because the title is all those flowers, and flowers are all over the chapter. And for me, it's most maybe even the most emotional chapter of the whole
Yeah.
series,
But
like
it
chapter
represents
4.
the four players, right? It represents the four players at the
Oh,
table. Yeah, one in
oh
each
yeah,
direction.
that's what I was thinking. Thank you. Yeah, that's
Even if it wasn't, it's still thematic.
okay. Okay, good, good.
It looks like a mahjong table in flower
Okay,
form.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we
Ooh.
have and the title, as you see, it's Chisana Kono Hana, uh, and Kome is a small plum, and even her name, it's gonna be revealed in this chapter why she's Kome. Um, and we finally, after 12 chapters, if you have noticed, there was not a single flashback about Kiria.
Yeah,
This is the first one and
because
the
we're
only one.
saving it for the climax.
Yep. And we see him 25 years old. Look at him. He's just like
Spring baby.
just like a guy, just like a random guy.
Well, yeah.
Uh, and he's running, and this is interesting. He's running from work. So he's been working and he's running from work to see his baby and his wife. So he isn't a fucking loser, neat, you
Yeah.
know?
No, he
He's a
cares
hard
deeply.
he's a hardworking father, not a father yet, but a hardworking man. I guess he's a father now.
Yeah.
And I guess this is a moment which Neros can really um, fully empathize with, but it's something I heard a million times that when a parent holds his child for the first time in their hands, like everything changes for them.
Yeah. Yeah, just that moment of knowing that this is your offspring, uh
Yeah.
this is like you created this living being, and it's going to be with you. Um and developing that special connection, I mean, yeah, I've met several people who have had children, and just the thought of not even the thought, but just the image of just seeing that child makes them, fills them with joy, fills them with determination. Like, yes, I'm going to make sure that this child has a wonderful life. It's just
Yeah,
a
I
natural
think
human
I
impulse.
because the way I've listened to people, even like in this manga and in other work and biographies, the way I get it is that it's just not explainable. You have to like go through it yourself. It's like this feeling when you hold this little thing inside, like it has to be like completely changing your whole mental, uh like the whole way you look at life. It just
Yeah.
has to be like that, because that's also what happens to Kiria, and I guess the author put these same feelings he had in real life here in this flashback. And here's where her name comes from. He picked up uh plum blossom on the way to the
Oh,
hospital,
yeah, it's sticking out of his
because
pants.
those are the only, I think that's the only fruit or the only flower which blooms in winter.
Oh,
It,
wow. Yeah.
yeah, that's the only fruit or flower which blooms in winter. Um, the other ones wait for spring. So
Yeah,
he
kind of
picked it
like
up.
blooming in your darkest hour, like when you need it the most.
Yeah,
Something pops up
and
out of the snow.
and that's where Kome gets her name from. And here we see, maybe this is the most emotional flashback from all of them, or maybe Arinos and her. I don't know. It's such an emotional
They're all
manga,
very emotional, yeah.
and then this imagery of him like touching these little hands,
Yeah.
and and you can see like how low he still thinks of himself. He's like thanking Hanako for giving birth. He calls himself a loser again, like a nobody.
Yeah, he has a very low self-esteem.
But Hanako is like thanks to you too. She's also like, and then this imagery like down there with the shoe and his pants, like just this image speaks so much. You know, he
Yeah. Yeah.
because he's working hard. He really
Yeah,
is.
just looking at his pant leg and how worn it is, and his shoes that are so covered
Yeah,
in filth and dirt, you can tell that he's been trying his hardest and he's been doing his best to support Hanako.
yeah, and you see that even if you thought for 40 chapters that, like, I don't know, if you thought that he's a fucking neat loser or whatever,
Yeah, he's
he,
not that. He's
yeah.
driven. He's got
And
that drive.
on the next page, we finally understand why he started to give everything to Mahjong, because he said he's done with clinging to hope. He's gonna move forward, so he
Yeah,
wants to have some kind of success in his life, and that makes him slam the tile.
right. With the full force of
Courage,
his determination, of that
yeah,
drive.
yeah. And on the next page, we see his neatly arranged discard
Oh,
pile.
very neatly, yes.
um,
Van Gogh couldn't have made a more perfect set of Mahjong tiles.
so yeah, he has 2, 3, 5, 5.
2, 3, 5 mon, 5 pin.
Yeah.
And all but one of them are the enemy's winning tiles.
Hira doesn't understand where the Upin are, and this is the contrast. Like most people probably didn't notice, but Hira on page 10 says like uh, they're still in the wall. I have to hope and wait, which is a contrast to what Kiria said a few pages ago, where he said, "I'm done with clinging to hope. I will move
Oh,
forward."
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was very deliberate.
Yeah, without waiting. While Hira is still uh, on a mental level below, where he's still hoping and waiting, basically.
Yeah.
And then there's some more Mahjong. Arino's drawing. He draws the 4 man, page 12. If it's a dangerous style, but he deals it, and we see a white Kirya, Shiro Kirya,
Shirokiri.
which basically implicates like some enlightenment or something. I don't know, but it's cool. I like how it looks.
Yeah, the white hair. I mean, he's using that a lot for different characters, and usually it means like, um, that they're like drained or something. But this time it's like he's. I guess because white hair indicates age, so that would be more wisdom.
Usually, I the way I think when he uses his white hair, it's basically like something like flashing in their mind. Basically, the way
Yeah,
I get it, like something in their head is like flashing white, and then it's like, and then when he sees the foreman, it's like this flash of like light in his head, and he's like, "This is what I'm gonna call. This is what
this
I
is what
need
I
to do."
have to do.
Yeah, and now we see why he loses. It's because he's gonna call Chi with 3, 5 man,
Yeah, yeah, and he's
and
about to play the 2 mon or the 5 pin, both of which are winning tiles. His
yep,
hands are over the 3 and 5 mon. He's about to knock them over.
yeah. So you lost, Kiria,
He loses. Yep, he lost.
and then
Except
and
he switches over at the last second. No, it's the 3 and 2 mon. He cheesed with that side instead.
yeah. And then we have another like everybody's like white eyes, like shocked.
Flashes to
Like
everybody. Everyone's amazed.
like like look at the audience like with open mouths and like I wish I was there. It had to be like
Yes,
fucking.
it should have been televised. It's
And
a
then
steel
there's
call. An
yeah,
iron
iron call.
call within an iron call.
And
Yeah,
then
he
the
could have
time
called one of two ways, and he chose the iron way.
and basically page 17. It's also in the volume like at the first pages of the volume. This image is used. Like I think it's a very brilliant image where you see all 4 players, him holding the tile, and you see all of the 3 other players looking in shock at him. I think this is beautifully drawn, and the tie is also untied, and the
Yeah,
perspective. I just think this is very, very well drawn. Like this one panel.
100%. Yeah, conveys all the emotion and all the drama of the scene. His tie flapping
Yeah,
with the momentum of his determination as he discards.
And here's another callback. He says, "What moved me forward?" Then he hears Comet Daddy, and he says, "It's love," because a few pages ago he said, "What moves me forward is courage," and now it's love.
Yes. Now it's love.
And there's another little bit controversial page. Kome looking at the moon and saying Daitsuki.
Daitsuki, I get it. I
Yeah,
get it.
so I put a translator note, and ex-Geo convinced me to put "love you" instead of "big moon" because I kind of agree. Like it would be
Well,
stupid
yeah,
to
that's
no
the
more
most
big moon.
important meaning of the double
Yeah,
meaning. But yeah, you need both meanings.
yeah, but that's again this ambiguous, like kind of keeping it. Is it psychic powers? Is it not?
Yeah.
You know.
Because yeah, it's kind of a cute. It's like a childish way of saying Daisuki is to say Daitsuki, but
Yeah,
Tsuki also means moon. So and
yeah.
Dai means big, so it's because Daisuki anyway means big love. So instead of big love, it's big moon or big like. I guess it would be whatever. Who cares? But it's important. It is important moment.
And the 5 slams, and he goes for the 40-10 weight.
The Furiten waits on the Upin. The
As
Upin Bento Upin.
as Adino said, you let the most important tiles out of your hand. You're in the worst 40-10, and now he's in the worst 40-10.
Yes, he accepts that
Naked,
he's in Furiten, and he can only
naked pair
win
weight,
with the right
naked,
fate.
naked pair weight 40-10. Can you be in a worse position?
I can't think of many.
Yeah, and last panel, he says he started to feel the weight because we didn't mention Hanako said to Kiria, he says like she's so light and so soft. He still doesn't know if she's real. And Hanako says that there's a saying in Japan that a father only realizes that he's a father when he can feel the child's weight. And here he kind of
Oh, I see. Yeah,
emphasis on that. He says, "I started to feel her weight.
right.
There's no way I can lose." Final chapter.
Final chapter. It's been 3 hours and 10 minutes, but here we are. Final
We had to do
chapter.
it. We had to do it. And you know what you said at the beginning. You said, "I'm not sure if we will have enough to talk about." And
Yeah,
this is
that's
what you
funny
get.
thinking about it now.
This is
Yeah,
what you
no,
get.
this is like twice as long as our last episode with like half the content. But
As I
okay.
said, it's the most epic game in the series. So
Yes.
we cut back to Hanako. It's flowers again. It's Arino buying flowers. It's
Yeah.
all about flowers. And he's not giving up because he's that kind of little asshole.
Yeah.
He's
He just
well,
will
well,
not back down.
yeah. See, he still didn't tell. He says like, here is a little bit of like misleading. He says like, "Don't worry, riding on Daddy's back. When I get on my back, like kind of like to throw
Yeah.
you off that maybe
Ugh,
he actually won."
gross.
Yeah. Uh, here, like it's throwing you a little off. He says, "Last week when you were sleeping, we were playing for you too," and you kind of like he's like deep down inside, that the Kiria won, but like a little bit like maybe I didn't want to. Yeah?
Yeah.
So we get back to the 40-10 weight. I don't know why Liz says that it's amazing. I would call it the worst weight ever,
Yeah.
but okay.
I guess it's amazing that he got here with
Yeah.
that hand.
Oh yeah, that he avoided dealing in basically. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. Yeah,
And
he
then
picked the
and then
perfect tile to play. Yeah.
and then the author like kind of says straight out like here like is it intuition, is it psychic, is it magic, like what everybody was thinking about, and Kiria just lays it down like no, this is all digital, this is all the
Yes.
online mahjong calculation digital style.
Calculated.
Yeah, so we won't get too deep on how he realized that their weights, basically he reasoned it through.
Sure.
Yeah, let's just
Yeah, you
skip
can
these.
read the chapter if you want to figure out how he knew
Yeah,
exactly.
but it all makes sense why he chose the To call Chi with the 2 man instead of the 5. It
Yeah.
makes sense. It wasn't luck at all. And Arino deals a dangerous tile. He remembers again, and it's the last turn. So it's even like, can it get more like a bigger climax? Last hand, all money on the table, naked pair weight, footy 10, last draw.
Waiting on the oopin.
Can you have a bigger climax? Like, I can't imagine.
Nope.
Um, okay,
Well,
yeah.
it's very big. I don't know if it's quite Akagi level, but yeah, it's tremendous. Yes. Anyway.
So Gono is happy, like he doesn't even care who wins anymore. He's just happy that he was playing with these three because he realized some things, which is at the end of the day, like probably the most important, that they all had some kind of like self-realization, self-actualization during the game, which they usually wouldn't have in normal games, let's say.
Yeah.
Except Arino. Arino is still like, fuck you, I will never accept losing
Yeah.
to a grass.
Right.
Um, but then we come to the true climax. Kiria reaches out Kome, Hanako.
You know,
Live with
I want to take it back. No, this is probably a better climax than Akagi because Akagi was kind of forced. I don't know. Whatever. It's more meaningful this way. It's way more meaningful this way. I just had to take that back. Anyway, keep
all
going.
right. Kome, Hanako. Last draw. Literally last draw. Like, you can't. There's. Naked footy 10 pair weight on an
Yes.
open and last draw,
Yes.
betting all your money. Please, I beg you, and this is his self realization. The tile I once let out of my hand, which is poetic. The open is lightened more than the other tiles. If I'm worth anything in this world, please come back.
Just come back. They have to let you in. The tiles have to let you back in
And
to
feels,
your
and
life.
the way, and when he grabs the tile as a mahjong player with his thumb, that's why his eye, like,
Yeah, he feels it in an instant. He knows exactly what it is just by
yeah.
feeling the face.
And it's Otochan Tadaima, and the little plum flower blossoms. And I think this is just so fucking epic that the middle circle of the upin
Yeah, it
is
even has
just
five
like,
petals.
yeah, and just in silence, just falls down, and that's it.
Thank you. A small plum flower has blossomed. 4,200 all.
That's it.
Yeah. And the game's
And
over.
yeah, and Arino has his self-realization, actualization in the hospital, I guess. He says he's not gonna give up, but Hanako asks him like, "Okay, little kid, what's the fucking conclusion? Did you learn anything from this?" And then he's like, "Yeah, we are not an ant and a grasshopper.
Yeah.
It's a fairy tale
Right.
for
People are
sure."
not that simple.
Yeah,
It's my
and
lot.
kinda,
Oh,
it's kind of,
look at that little pouty face.
oh,
Oh, it's my lot. With his lips all out.
oh.
You poor guy. Oh.
And it's kind of telling. Hanako is kind of like relieved. I think that she's happy that Kiria won,
Yeah, for sure.
and she also says that they're fucking idiots at the same
Yes,
time.
at the same time.
And I think this is also the perfect ending of Kiria, who doesn't even have a car. He only has a bicycle. But it's so cute. Like Kome in the little child seat on the bicycle. He's going uphill.
Yeah.
And Kome asks, in the sequel, will the grasshopper finally start working? And he's like,
Foreshadowing.
yeah, will the grasshopper finally start working, Daddy, in the sequel? And he's like, no, no, he can play an instrument. No work
Yeah.
for me.
That's what he's good at, playing the instrument, playing those tiles.
Yeah.
That's what he has to do. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if you're an ant and you just work your butt off all the time, like it's stable and it's secure, and you know what your future is going to be, but you know, even if you find yourself as a grasshopper in your life, even if you find yourself, you've perfected one thing and that's all you're good at, it's not wrong to try and make something out of your life using that one thing that you're good at,
yeah,
um and just saying that you're going to wind up like bowing down to the ants in the end is not necessarily true. Like there's always a way for it to work out for you. If you as this series has made its theme is uh I'm not sure if that was correct English, but if as this series has thematically portrayed, you decide to go out on a limb and do something that you think is going to work, even though it might not, uh, then you know there's a way for you to achieve your dreams. You know.
yeah. And I'm just gonna wrap up the manga. Last panel is so. This guy is just Yosuke is just a great artist, to be honest. Like I love this imagery of him on a bicycle and Kome raising her hand, like cheering him on, and he just say "Oh," which I translated, "Yeah," and this shadow on the bridge uphill. I just love this fucking
Yeah.
image. I love the art in the manga, and that's it, guys. That's
Yeah. Oh, and
Tetsunaki.
that's the last page of the series. Wow.
Yeah,
As yeah, it's
we
a
made it.
it's a beautiful ending. It is really beautiful. It's perfect in every way. So yeah, no, I mean honestly, after going through it with you and after like individually breaking down every single scene, not just reading it like all in a rush or anything, I really appreciate the series a lot more. And I feel like this message is really um applicable to even my own life, and I'm sure to a lot of other people's lives. I really, I do, I thought highly of the series before, but after, going through it with you and slowly breaking down every little element of it, I appreciate it all that much more. So,
Yeah, because it's not so obvious. It's a manga which is a little bit different in the way that it's really like a drama.
yeah,
Because usually in manga you expect some kind of cool stuff, you expect some pandering towards some demographics, you expect big titties, you expect you expect there's so many tropes in manga.
right.
And but this one is just straight from the heart, a
Yeah,
story, a
it's
drama.
not about it's not even really about the mahjong. It's about the interpersonal relationships of the characters, their motivations, their drives, their it's about humanity. It's about humanity. It's about the humanity of every single character that is involved in the series. And that's wonderful. That's exactly what you want out of a series like this. It's not about, anything more than just the people and their drive to do it and the exploration of that drive to do what makes them feel fulfilled in life. And yeah, it's a great exploration into fatherhood and what's that into hard workingness uh, into risk taking. And
Yeah, as you said, it's really about life itself, and it's a hidden gem. Like it didn't explode in popularity. As you said, when you're speed reading it, when you're not paying attention to all the details and stuff, like I had to do it because I was translating it. Maybe if I read it secondhand from somebody else, maybe I would have also like not realized a lot of the things. But if you're like translating it and you spend so much time on every dialogue box, on every image, then you see all of these little details which are throughout the whole series. We kept saying like, "Oh, this was referenced before. Oh, this was foreshadow. This was
yes,
foreshadow." Like,
no, it was very clearly planned out from the very beginning with the Upin, with the ant and the grasshopper, with the names of the characters. Everything was meticulously planned and crafted to create this perfect arc of a story. um, for this, yeah, for this, amazing ending. So yeah, it's just wonderful, and I can see why so many people hold it in such high regard. As one of the greatest mahjong manga ever written, and I can't say I disagree with them. It's
Yeah.
just amazing. It's really good, and the
And
fact,
at the end of the day, I really hope, I'm gonna stay like insecure about this forever, but I really hope I did a good job translating it. Because there's always gonna be this doubt in my head that maybe somebody else could have done a better job, because it was like my first serious
yeah. I
manga
would
which I
say no. Like looking through it, reading it with you, I would say you did a wonderful job. Uh, Honestly, the only thing that kind of like made me tilt my head was the skilled versus unskilled translation.
yeah, yeah.
Um, because like as you described it, like overcoming something versus not overcoming something, like skilled versus unskilled really doesn't like portray that. I would say that
Yeah.
it maybe like strength versus weakness or something like that would have
Mm.
at least gotten the feeling of what was being said, because skilled versus unskilled just means like, oh, I'm just better than you, or something like that.
Yeah, but I agree. I also dislike that translation.
Yeah, that's the only thing though. That's the like throughout the entire
The
thing,
problem
like.
the problem I had with it, that was actually the literal translation, because
Oh.
he really did use like heta and jozu.
Oh,
Um,
really? Okay. The way you
yeah,
described it made it sound a little different, but
yeah, but if you're like reading it in the like Japanese, uh, it's kind of more obvious, and it's not like in Japanese. Jozu and heta aren't so like strictly skilled and unskilled. It also applies on a more
yeah, yeah, like you can be, like Jozu is a common compliment for somebody whose Japanese is good. Like, oh, Jozu, Jozu, when, they don't really mean that you're skilled at a language. They just mean that
yeah.
you're
They're not
putting,
that.
I guess it's more like the fact that you're putting in effort to learn Japanese is what makes you Jozu, right? It's not necessarily that
Yeah,
you're skilled.
yeah. It's basically not like literally like oh, you're like skilled, like you can play Hanger 18 on guitar, like the solo, like you're so skilled. It's more
Yeah.
like you you have the ability, to you are able, maybe able, but then able and disabled would also
No, definitely not, but
maybe
um
capable,
Oh, that's
able.
good. Yeah, capable. Yeah, capable or incapable. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, that would
that's
be
what
great. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I think that would have been the perfect. I mean, it's fine the way it is. It's I would just say like it doesn't quite convey the exact meaning, but I totally understand. Like it is kind of a translation that you would think of while translating it, and I mean you had a lot to translate at the time, so um,
uh,
but yeah, capable I think would be good. But yeah, I didn't realize that it was Jozu and Head. I might have done the same thing, honestly, if I was just because it's important to get the chapters out quickly, right? It's not like you can ruminate on like the proper translation all you want, but at the end of the day, most people they just want to read the series, So the minute details of that, like I'm sure it probably like even in even if they had understood that meaning, it wouldn't have changed the story for them that much anyway.
yeah. Um, Sonic, I want to thank you. It was great.
Yeah,
Because
we freaking yeah.
it's not
What?
the
How
same.
long is this now?
Yeah, okay. Like disregarding the length of the stream, hopefully somebody has a lot of homework or stuff to do and can listen for 3.5 hours of us in the background. But
Right.
I just want to say I have similar feelings in the way that um, it's not same when I read the manga by myself, because as I said, I probably read it at least like 30, 40 times in the years. Uh,
Yeah.
like maybe every 2 months or so, I would like reread it or something. Um, but it's not the same when you're like discussing it with someone. I even learned some new things which you pointed out, which I wasn't even aware of, which I never noticed. Like at least like 5, 6 little details.
Well, yeah. I
Like
mean, you're when you describe it to me, and I come at it with a different perspective, then naturally, differences are going to come up. So yeah, I mean that's what it's all about. That's what it's about. Discussing things, and you really can't get to as we've said on this podcast a number of times, you can't get to the bottom of the heart of a story without really discussing it with someone.
Yeah, so I'm really proud of us. We did it. We conquered Tetsunaki no Kirinji.
In
Um,
extreme detail, but that, I
yeah,
mean, it deserves it.
I hope it'll be helpful for someone who maybe read it just once and, as you said, like just skim through it, and maybe once if they give it another try, listening to us with all the details, maybe they'll appreciate it more. I don't know.
Possibly,
I
yeah.
yeah.
We'll just have to see. I mean, yeah, it is a lot to get through. Um, but I think it was worth it. So
I'm really proud of us. I really like these two last, not because it's Tetsunaki no Kirinji, but because we really covered everything. Maybe we should at some point get back to Kaiji and do something similar.
just go even further into depth on Kaiji. Uh,
Let's sit down together and go chapter to
yeah,
chapter.
yeah. Every
All
chapter. Okay, so what does this detail mean? Kaiji has a little sweat drop on his forehead. Let's measure the angle of this sweat drop. Let's figure out exactly what this means given Fukumoto's art style or something.
yeah,
No, no, we've
let's
done
go.
Kaiji to death. No more. No, I refuse to do more Kaiji at this point.
Imagine going through every single chapter of Kaiji, like page by page, together on a podcast. We would finish in maybe 20 years.
20 year, yeah. There's just so damn much. Um, no, but
Okay,
I feel like it's worth it to go through a series like this that's so deep and meaningful in this much detail. Um,
okay, Sonic, you want to wrap up the podcast so it's still in a uh, 3.5 hours YouTube video? You can maybe cut out me drinking coffee 3 4 minutes.
eh.
Um,
Yeah, let's wrap up the stream.
and
I
if you
mean,
want
we
to stay a little bit
expected that
more,
nobody would freaking watch it, and I mean, some people, we got a yo-yo and we got an O in the comments.
yo and all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna link the YouTube video on the blog and on the channel for people to
Okay.
check it out. You want to stay a little bit more on Discord
Yes,
after
I
you wrap
do.
it up? Okay. Okay. So
Um.
while you wrap it up, everybody, I have to go urgently to the toilet and make myself another coffee.
Okay.
Um, everybody, morning podcast. I'm happy we still did it. For one moment, we thought maybe we should skip it. I'm glad we didn't. It worked out. Thank you. If you managed to go to all 3.5 hours, thank you so much. It means a lot. Message me on Discord. I will send you a gift card.
uh. Okay. We'll see if that happens, but yeah. No. I mean, we'll
Thank you
we'll
guys.
we'll give you something special for sure.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. I'm going to the toilet and see you next week. Bye.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for me too. Like this was a fun exploration. So yeah. We'll see you all for the next episode. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you later.